I
Joe-
can keep going for a motion too.
Yeah, Joe, would you ask for motions to get the
Yeah.
meeting started, please?
I ask for a motion to open HFA, HTFC, and AHC meetings.
So moved.
I'll second it.
I will now ask for individual votes from each HFA, HTFC, AHC board member. Chairman Adams,
Aye.
Ms. Vissauskas,
Aye.
Mr. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Olzak,
Aye.
June,
Aye.
Ms. Miller,
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Aye.
That's for a motion for the HFA Finance and Program Committee.
So moved.
Second.
We will accept the prior votes of Chairman Adams, Ms. Vissauskas, and Mr. Olzak. I ask for a motion of the HTFC Audit Committee.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
we will accept the prior votes of Chairman Adams, Mr. Curtis, and Mr. Olzak.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everybody. We're going to move to the HFA AHC agenda this morning. And as you all seen, we have, I think, 4 really big, important, fantastic projects. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to take up the items that require HFA Finance and Program Committee action and HFA member action. So we'll start with item 2, which are resolutions of the HFA Finance and Program Committee and the HFA members recommending and approving the issuance of an amount not to exceed $70,710,000 maximum fixed rate and or variable rate tax exempt or taxable bonds in one or more bond series and an estimated $20,398,464 in HFA subsidy funds for Marcus Garvey Extension Phase 2 buildings C and E in Kings County. Russell's here and team.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm used to starting so early. Get right to business.
Right to business, my
Yeah.
friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, Terrence is going to present Marcus Garvey this
Good
morning.
morning.
Nice.
Good morning, everyone. So this is, I'm going to present Marcus Garvey Extension Phase 2, Building C and E. This is going to be the last, speak up. It's going to be the last phase, the last 2 buildings of this Marcus Garvey Extension project. So the original Marcus Garvey was a mutual armor project, was built in 1974. And then they come to us for a rehab financing in 2014. We completed that with and preserving 625 units. And then the project went through a rezoning with New York City in 2018. So there are 7 underutilized parking lots that was with these properties. And then so the rezoning would allow these parking lots to add density into the neighborhood and can create 675 units of housing units with community facilities as required. So in 2019, we financed phase 1 of this extension project, and it was completed in 2020. And so last year in 2023, we closed phase 2 building G. So now we are financing the last phase, the last 2 buildings of phase 2, building C and E. So this last 2 buildings will have 178 units, of which 177 will be revenue generating units and 1 is a super units. The unit types is ranging from studios to 3-bedroom units. And the affordability of the units will be ranging from 40% of AMI to 70% of AMI. And there will be 88 supportive housing units. They have a ESHI award from the Office of Mental Health. The awardee of this service provider will be the Osborne Association. The population will be for individuals entering the community from incarceration. So there will be 2 buildings. Both of them are 8-story buildings. They will have a ground floor allocated space for community facilities. The structure will be reinforced concrete with brick and EIFS facades, which for insulation purposes, facades. And there will be, the 2 buildings will be all electric with a geothermal system for heating and cooling. The location is, the first building is at 380 Chester Street, and the second building is 253 Thomas Boylan Street. They're next to each other in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. So both of them are 2 blocks from a number 2 and 3 train station, subway station, and also the B60 bus line. The location is close to retail, schools, places of worship, and stores. The supportive services will include workforce development programs, relationship coaching, health and wellness services. The Osborne Association will be the service provider, and they were the service provider in Building F when we closed several years ago. They're also part of the ownership structure. They're in for the long term. So the managing member of the borough entity will be controlled by L&M Development Partners and the Osborne Associations. The GC is L&M Builders. The management company is CNC Apartment Management. They're all affiliates of L&M Development. TD Bank will be providing credit enhancement during construction for the bonds, and Raymond James will be the syndicator for both the low-income housing tax credit and the state low-income housing credits.
Great, that's good. Terrence says, well done, thank you, great presentation.
I want to point out one thing that I missed here, that we are also allocating SLIC to this project, which I did not disclose in this. But that doesn't require board approvals. It's just going to be transparent.
Thank you. Please.
Sorry. I have a couple of questions, actually. You're replacing tenant parking lots?
Yes.
Is there any provision being made for tenant parking, or is this considered undesirable?
So considering the project is 2 blocks actually from the subway, I guess.
Not too many tenants need cars.
Yeah, I don't believe that many tenants would,
Are the parking lots being used now?
No,
No.
they're vacant, underused. They were acquired by L&M as part of this rezoning back in, I guess, was it 20?
Right, but when you say underused, you mean not used?
Not
at all?
used, yeah.
Tenants there just don't have cars.
There actually is some street parking in the neighborhood as they've sort of, this development sort of expanded itself out. There's actually fairly ample street parking. These aren't like high-rise towers, so to speak. So there's sort of, the neighborhood is sort of like a low-rise area.
Yeah.
It's fairly.
Second question I have, which is a really general question, it's just my curiosity. It's a great program, and I know it's a great development team. I'm just curious how you do geothermal heat in Brooklyn. Because I remember when I was doing affordable housing, they kept telling us you couldn't do it.
Technology is
I
improved
mean,
since then.
yeah,
That
I
was a
mean,
long time ago, I know.
yeah. I mean, I think they do the same in Brooklyn as they do everywhere else, right? You dig a hole in the
Very
ground
deep
until
hole.
you get where you need to get, and then.
Right, you didn't go deep enough.
Yes.
So, you have to go very deep in Brooklyn?
They had geothermal on on
In
the
the last,
first phase too, right?
in building G, yes.
Yeah.
That's just a general question of Smith.
From what I gather, they build it in such a way that there's, if one system goes down, they have another backup system in place it's very intensive work. And it does add to the costs of the construction, but at the end of the day, you're benefiting on
Yeah.
the long term.
No, it's great. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm absolutely in favor of it. I was just curious about how it's being done.
Yeah.
And they're not putting solar on the roofs?
No.
Just green roofs. I think it's the square footage is not, doesn't really, doesn't take the benefit.
Yeah, they're long and thin.
Yeah.
Good. Joyce, anything else?
Was it?
Good. Thanks, Terrence. Thank you,
Yep.
Russell.
Thanks.
Great program.
If there aren't any further questions here, Joe, why don't you do the honor?
Now before the HFA member, HFA Finance and Program Committee and HFA members are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and for the Finance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
Great, thank you. Now, Joe has just kicked me under the table to remind me that I skipped over the minutes before we went to that first item. So I do want to say that now I'll make it the second item. The minutes are in our board books and they should be deemed approved unless there are any objections from members. So anybody have questions about the minutes from our last meeting? Thank you, Joe, for checking that. That means the minutes are okay. So let's move ahead and we'll go to number 3. These are resolutions to the HFA Finance and Program Committee recommending and approving the issuance of an amount not to exceed $22,050,000 of fixed rate under variable rate, tax exempt or taxable bonds in one or more bond series and an amount not to exceed $22 million in HFA subsidy funds for the project known as Ulster Portfolio, which is in Kingston, and 3 places: the city of Kingston, the town of Saugerties, and the town of Ulster, all in Ulster County. And again, Russell's here to walk us through.
Sure, I'm going to put back my preservation hat for this one. This one's got a bit of a story to it, which I think is important to understand why we're here. A little bit of background, these are properties in Ulster County. About 15 to 20 years ago, they were a series of scattered site low-income housing developments were created. These are garden style apartments. They were developed by Birch's Associates, whose principal is Steve Aaron, and they were financed by HFA, HTFC, DHCR in varying capacities. There were 5 properties in total created, 3 of which are being presented today for combined financing. And that's Birchwood Village in Kingston, Chambers Senior Housing in the town of Ulster, and then Birch's at Saugerties in Saugerties. The other 2 properties that were part of this development, Birch's at Chambers, not to be confused with Chambers Senior, though they're actually on the same parcel, and Birch's at Esopus, they're both being financed separately. So it's just the first 3 here. Anyway, these properties were initially developed by Birch's Associates. Steve Aaron turned out to be, there's a whole lot of legal problems with Mr. Aaron. You might want to Google him if you like. Otherwise, I'd be here for a long time kind of describing. Suffice to say that, the properties by 2021, the properties were in fairly bad shape from a financial perspective and structurally, leaving tenants in a rather precarious position. The agencies led by our asset management team really endeavored to replace this owner with a responsible one. And it was around this time in 2021 that Beacon Communities reached out to us to propose an acquisition for these 5 properties. By March of 2022, we had a coordinated effort to acquire the properties from Aaron and his team, Beacon acquiring them through a bridge loan. And then we were able to retire the existing bonds on the properties and some of the local debt was forgiven. This was with the understanding that Beacon was going to come back to us now with a financing proposal to further rehabilitate the properties and stabilize them financially. So what this includes now is renegotiating the real estate pilot agreements with the localities. The pilot agreements had been terminated because of Mr. Aaron's dereliction of duties. So now they're being reinstated and approved through the new ownership. And like I said, the local debt has been forgiven. They've also come to us for Section 8 project-based rental assistance, which will help stabilize the revenue to the properties. Each of the properties is getting a certain amount of Section 8 rental assistance, which will be on a permanent project-based basis. And now they're coming in for financing with HFA. This is an heretofore untried structure. We've never done this before where we're actually using refunding bonds. We're not using our volume cap here. We're trying to preserve our volume cap, which is a very precious resource for our bigger, primarily new construction projects. So we're trying other ways to finance preservation deals. This presented itself a good opportunity here. We're using recycled bonds in combination with our state low-income housing tax credits. The key to that is really finding an investor who's willing to invest in just state credits without the federal component. We had CREA, our tax credit syndicator, work on this project, and they've done a really great job finding investor interest. And it's exciting not only to preserve these properties, but also to kind of present a new way of financing them that we haven't done before. So they come in with a tax credit price of about 81 cents on the dollar for a SLIC, which is much higher than we usually see when it's in combination with our federal credits. So we're exciting. This is something that we hope we can use on other preservation projects going forward. And then a little bit about the properties themselves. The 3 sites will be rehabilitated at about 80,000 per unit under our agency's level 1 moderate rehabilitation program. Energy efficiency measures will be included. That will be building envelope sealing for greater efficiency, weatherization of the windows, low flow plumbing fixtures, improvements to the hot water and piping insulation to meet New York State energy codes, domestic hot water replacement, PTAC systems for the HVAC, energy efficient lighting, and some boiler replacement. They can't quite go full electric on these existing properties. Some of the boilers had been replaced as emergency work about 3 or 4 years ago. It doesn't make really economic sense to replace them again at this point. And it had to be done sort of to stabilize the property at the time. And one last note in particular, Birchwood Village, which is a family property, is also going to get a new basketball court and a playground.
There. So,
Great, thank you.
yep. Thanks, Russell. Any questions? Comments? Joyce?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The pilot program, the pilot payments that you described in the memo, are those already agreed or is that, okay?
Yeah, we're just finalizing the documents, but they've already been agreed to. It's a bit complicated. So it's hard to describe them all as they're different agreements with different towns, but
Yeah, very complex project.
yeah.
Anybody else?
They look like good sites for solar.
Some of them, and I think a lot of them have sloping roofs. Solar, I think, is something we could,
Parking lot, I don't know, the state's about to get a lot of money from Solar for All. So
Yeah.
something like this is a good opportunity. I just wonder if we're
It's true.
even evaluating for solar.
yeah, in fact, we can look into it. There's a solar for one, is it called? There's a new pilot program that we're looking into. Our sustainability team is leading that, where we're especially looking for properties outside of New York City that might be able to benefit from that. So, and that can be an ongoing program. We don't necessarily have to tie it to the financing. So I think we would look to consider that for this.
Yeah, I mean, I see Beacon here, they're obviously totally into decarbonization and everything else. In a project like this, maybe not this one, but certainly in the near term, if we can't get all the way to electrification, sort of scoping what it would cost to get all the way there, because when the money comes in from the greenhouse gas reduction fund, that can slot in to get it there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I don't know, I mean, hats off to the agency. Most of what you're doing is so high performance and really, especially on the new construction side, we're there. Obviously, these are the tougher ones. So
Yeah.
just put it out there because in a month, we should know about the greenhouse gas reduction fund awards. And these kinds of projects are great.
And we're shifting really, and we spent all of last year making sure every sort of new construction we were doing was all electric. And now I think we have a bigger focus sort of going forward on what we do in the restoration side. So I think you'll see more and more of these.
It's the way it works, right? You
Yeah.
get used to it on the construction, you know, learn how to speak the language and then
Yeah.
take on the harder stuff.
Incentives. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking at the pictures, it looks like these are mostly attached buildings.
Yeah, they're like townhouse garden style buildings where
Yeah.
you have sort of 3 or 4 units tied together in like,
Yeah.
scattered buildings surrounding by like a
And
central.
they each have a separate heating system.
Yeah, yeah,
That's efficient.
yeah.
Glad
Great.
we are.
Let's, Joe, let's move the item, please.
Yeah.
Now before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committee are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and for the Finance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
Good, thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody. Number 4, resolutions of the Finance and Program Committee and the HFA members recommending and approving the issuance of tax exempt taxable fixed or variable rate bonds in an amount not to exceed $139,030,000 in one or more series and an amount not to exceed $48,549.50 in HFA subsidy for funding for Innovative Urban Village Phase 1A. This is in Brooklyn, Kings County. Emilio.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Emilio Vargas. I'm Assistant Vice President, 4% Finance Team here with Russell. And I'm here to present Innovative Urban Village Phase 1A. The project is the new construction of a 13-story and a 15-story building that contains 386 affordable units intended for residents between the income levels of 30% and 80% AMI. This project is the first phase of the multi-phase Innovative Urban Village development in the East New York area of Brooklyn. IUV is a plan to develop the existing 10.5-acre area around the Christian Cultural Center to build a new community. The goal of the entire village is to build 2,000 units of affordable housing in 10 buildings throughout 5 different phases. The village plans to offer childcare, senior services, a performing arts center, outdoor park space, and other commercial storefronts. In November 2022, in conjunction with New York City Department of City Planning and HPD, a ULURP was completed to rezone the site. As part of the rezoning, the project is subject to the mandatory inclusionary housing program. On the financing end, Goldman Sachs will serve as a letter of credit bank and tax credit syndicator. HPD is also participating in the financing structure via their ALA program. The project will include 94 supportive units that will be reserved for homeless individuals and families that are survivors of domestic violence. Urban Resources Institute will provide services for supportive units via an eShy award. The project will also include commercial and retail space on property's ground floor that will include a grocery store and potentially a pharmacy or other walk-in medical or dining options. The project's key sustainable features include green roofs, a rooftop solar array, and 6 EV charging stations. The proposed borrower is a joint venture partnership between an affiliate of the Gotham organization, an affiliate of the Christian Cultural Center, and an affiliate of the Monadnock Development. That concludes my presentation. Thank you. If there are any questions.
Thanks very much. Questions for Emilio on this project in Brooklyn?
This, not unlike Marcus Garvey, will come back again over time.
Big site.
Yeah, it's big. This is a big one.
Yeah, a lot of money.
It's great.
Big project, yeah. What's the, or something, I don't remember. I think this is the project where they're changing, there's a street name change proposed.
Oh.
It's becoming
Yeah.
inspiration.
Inspiration Lane.
Oh,
It used to be called like Flatlands Avenue.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Flatlands Avenue? They're gonna call it Inspiration Lane.
Yeah, so DOB is treating the permit under Flatlands, but they have received approval for 30 Inspiration Lane for this
Yeah,
initial
you
phase.
know who you have to go to sign up on a name change?
I think it's the borough
I think Borough
office.
President.
Borough
Yeah.
president,
President.
yeah.
Yes,
Really?
the cartographers division, each, borough presidents, can we say this off the record? They don't have a lot to do, but they do get to do name change. Now, I say this in recognition of the late great Howard Goldman, who passed away 2 weeks ago. And
Well, I can
Borough-
tell you who was in charge of name changing
Yeah,
in
and-
Manhattan when Scott Stringer was the
I
borough
can tell you
president.
who did it in Brooklyn,
My
but that's
son.
where you go. No, also for street addresses, when you want to get a different building number, and I think street name change probably is DOT as well, so I'm not really sure. But street addresses are, if you have a new development, you need a number like
Yes.
52, whatever this is,
You want a
Inspiration
low
Way,
number like 1 or.
to go to the borough president's office. Well, any serious questions for Emilio about this important project?
What's the source of the remediation? I see it's a brownfield, yeah.
Yeah, so I believe previous use of the site, they found, the oil, the soil contamination merited a level of cleanup. I can't say what the previous uses were, if that's the question, but they will be benefiting from brownfield tax credits.
I only ask because I'm trying to think about different ways to pay for the energy performance of these sites. Like brownfields do not require a carbon-free property, but if they did, there's a lot more proceeds from a brownfield tax credit than the cost of the scope.
Right,
There's
right.
room in there to include more high performance. And I just ask because from a policy perspective, trying to think about how to influence the brownfield tax credit to be more focused on carbon as a.
That's a
one
great
of
point.
someone, it's gotta worry about that.
Right.
Uh,
That's me.
Yeah, that's the church. It's like a Star Wars.
The Commissioner and I are looking at the pictures, remarkable, great pictures.
Yeah, Gotham
Any
is
other, thank you, Sadie, for reminding us of the importance of that. This is
Exciting. It'll be a really
yeah,
transformative.
yeah, and I think as Ruth Ann says, we'll be seeing this one for a while. So shall we get started? Joe, let's do it.
Now before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committee are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA for the Finance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
Great, thanks, everybody, and thank you, Amelia. Number 5, resolutions of the Financial Program Committee, HFA members recommending approval of the issuance of tax exempt or taxable fixed or variable rate bonds in an amount not to exceed $50,420,000 in one series or more, and an amount not to exceed $945,164 in HFA subsidy for funding at La Ola Sul in Bronx County. This is, yes, I know this site. This is the Jerome Avenue rezone.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
right.
it is, right?
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
All right,
Hi.
good.
Hi. Hi, I'm Michelle Canizio, another AVP in this department. So La Ola Azul, located at 1940 Jerome Avenue in Mount Hope neighborhood, is a supportive housing project developed and managed by a nonprofit organization, West Hab. West Hab is an experienced, supportive, and affordable housing developer and manager. This project is a part of the Jerome Avenue city-led rezoning. The project site is currently a vacant single-story commercial space with former auto service use. So almost 100 years ago, the heart of the area surrounding Jerome Avenue was zoned as a service district to provide parking, auto-related uses, and other commercial and light industrial services to the dense residential communities, which has mostly 6 to 8-story apartment buildings. Just like a fun fact, the area includes a high number of parking facilities because at the time, parking was not allowed in residential buildings. This rezoning was examined because the area encompasses a unique opportunity to connect the surrounding neighborhoods of Highbridge, Morris Heights, University Heights, Mount Hope, where this project is located, and Mount Eden along the 2-mile stretch of Jerome Avenue. The rezoning efforts is an opportunity to build upon the multi-use assets to plan for future growth, transforming Jerome Avenue from a low-density commercial area to a central business district with a variety of uses, including residential, office, and entertainment venues, which will meet the needs of residents and businesses. This project's planned commercial space is therefore required by zoning. The residential portion of the project, which is co-funded by HPD, will have 115 total units, of which 69 units will be home to chronically homeless single adults or adult families with head of household living with serious mental illness and or substance abuse disorder. These tenants will have support services and rental subsidy funded by the New York City 15. The residential building will have community space for social services, and the resident amenities will include indoor and outdoor recreation spaces and free apartment Wi-Fi. The building will be all electric and receive an ACERTA funding award to achieve passive house certification as part of HPD Future Housing Initiative Program, which is equivalent to our CEI program. Thank you. This concludes my presentation.
Thanks very much.
Sure.
It's good, Michelle, to see, a solid project that's taking advantage so quickly of the rezone.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Can I ask, what is, HB is providing funding through the Future Housing Initiative Program?
Yeah,
I missed
that's-
that. What is that?
That's equivalent to our CEI program. So when I started, went to
Oh.
HPD and said, oh, let's start this pilot program for all electric buildings, passive house certification. And that's why they can't take advantage of our CEI programs to be double dipping. Yeah.
Michelle, could you tell us just a little bit about how the building's going to work? Because if things go well, you'll be bringing us more projects.
Yeah.
The rezoning's at 2 miles. I mean,
Right.
It's a 40-block stretch.
It's a big
Yeah.
Under the 4 train, under the L, which
Yeah.
has been there since probably the 1920s or something.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, having spent, several years working in the neighborhood, it's very loud. And
Mhm.
because the train, that 4 train is back, in both directions all the time.
Yeah.
Sadly, this is where the shooting was last week, and Mount Eden stopped, right
Yeah.
where the project is, where I shot a bunch of people, killed somebody, put 6 people in the hospital.
Yeah.
They're still looking for the shooter, by the way.
Gosh.
It's a neighborhood with a lot of challenges, to be
Yeah.
clear. But how do you do that when you got this noisy subway? I know there's an answer, but I think it's
There's an
we're gonna see
answer.
these,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're gonna want some street level retail, right? Because
Right.
the whole idea was to have some jobs and life in the
Yeah.
street and have better retail for the whole neighborhood. So how's the building gonna work when you build it right
Yeah.
next to an elevated
I
subway?
know, it's in
Let's-
there's a picture in the appendix. So I can definitely speak to that. So as part of the Section 8 funding that this project is getting APBVs. A part of the HUD environmental review is what they call a NEPA review. And a part of that, because it's so close to the elevated, they have to pass a noise mitigation test. And the way that the building passed that test is to add extra insulation to mitigate any of the noise from the elevated. And this project also has, because it was an auto use service, it also has some hazard mitigation as well for cleanup. So that is how they went back and forth with our environmental for months on the noise mitigation for this building because it's so close to the elevated. I think the area is also attractive because it is on the other side, like so well connected to
Yeah,
transportation,
transportation's great.
train, buses. And so I think that's partly why this area is being concentrated on, also because it really needs affordable
Did
housing.
Sadie comment on the solar array on the roof?
No,
Joe, what I was gonna say, I love seeing the free
Right.
broadband.
yes.
And
Yes.
new construction, tall, no, it's got.
It has a
something
green
on-
roof.
Pardon me?
It has a green roof.
I see a solar, in the rendering, that is a solar array. Now, if that's meant to just, get us excited.
Yeah.
Also, the weird angled shape of the structure actually helps to mitigate the noise. I think that's one of the design
Just
features.
bounce it to the neighbors on the other side.
Right.
Makes for interesting architecture.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting a lot of the units above, it looks like it's the
Yeah.
same level as that passing subway train. So the rendering, thank you for
Yeah.
referring us to the rendering, because again, this is, I think for many of our projects here in New York City anyway, this is what we call a good problem. There's really good mass transit. The problem is it's right next to the units, right?
Yeah.
So there's noise and other quality of life issues, but having so much mass transit, this building doesn't need it. Is there parking downstairs? It doesn't.
It's so well connected to
But
transportation.
the
yeah.
site is full of underground, undisclosed tanks. Lots of.
There's
stuff.
hazard
There's
mitigation
a
that
lot
was
of
done
stuff
on
to
the
pump
site.
out of these sites.
Yeah,
I toured many of the auto body businesses when I was in the community and met many of the owners who were fearing this. If they were renters, of course, they got displaced. If they owned, that's another story.
yeah.
If they owned, basically they weren't powerful. But most didn't. Most, of course, were renters.
Very well familiar with the area. My mother there when I was a child and I grew up there.
Really?
That's so
You know,
nice.
it's-
Great use. It's great to see the property being used so
Yeah.
well.
Oh, that's so nice.
Any other
especially
questions or
given
comments
the
for Michelle?
shortage of Sites in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an important project. With a poetic name, it sort of sounds like
I
Blue
mean,
Wave.
I think it is Blue Wave, right?
It is.
That means
Well,
Blue
it's
Wave.
it's a conjunction of
Actually-
aura and a food.
The terrace area at the bottom is blue.
Oh.
You can't see it here, but if
The
you look at
architect
the
had fun.
PDF, it's blue.
With the blue, and yeah.
You had to get the blue wave
is
in,
like,
yeah.
The last thing you think of in this location. The day at the beach.
Oh, the building has kind of a
Yeah, yeah,
Wavy
yeah,
look.
yeah. Let's, if there are no further questions or comments from Michelle,
Let's
let's move this one. Joe?
Now, before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committee are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and for the Finance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
Great, thank you very much, Joe. Thanks, everybody. We got one more. Item 6, resolution of the Finance Program Committee, HFA members recommending and approving the issuance of tax exempt or taxable fixed or variable rate bonds in an amount not to exceed $44,245,000 and an amount not to exceed $15,600,000 in HFA subsidy funds for Jericho 158, also in the Bronx. And Michelle's going to do this one, too.
I'm gonna do this too, and apologize for giving you deja vu. These
That-
buildings are a little similar in terms of who they're serving, but so 2.5 miles away from La Ola Azul is Jericho 158 in the Bronx. It's a good
We like
leeway,
saying that.
And the Jerome Avenue subway. line.
right?
Yeah.
It's a good-
Going up
It's a good leeway.
Don't worry about the noise.
Yeah,
No.
right, they don't have to worry about the noise, which is a 60% supportive housing project also co-funded by HPD. This project consists of 2 buildings on East 158th Street in Melrose. These 2 buildings are non-adjacent parcels on the same block. They're pretty close to each other. There'll be 129 total units across both buildings, consisting of 78 studio units with the New York City 15 Award for Rental and Support Services for residents with chronically homeless single adults living with serious mental illness and/or substance use disorder. And units will also be set aside for young adults aged 18 to 25 who are homeless or at risk of being homeless. The remaining units will be for households at 30%, 50%, and 60% AMI. Both buildings will have community and social services space for programming, as well as a community room and indoor and outdoor recreation areas. These buildings will be all electric as well, and have solar on the roof for both buildings. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Great, thanks, Michelle. Questions about this project in the Bronx?
Great project.
It definitely has been so.
Mhm.
Great. Okay, Joe, let's do it.
Now, before the HFA members, there's a resolution to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Good. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
If I can ask Russell to
Please.
stay for 1 second, I should have said this at the top when he started, but as folks will remember, we've had a little shifting in our sort of staffing in the folks who bring us all these deals, and Russell has graciously accepted the role of vice president running all the deals now. So congratulate him and acknowledge that he's sitting in the seat, not just.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got to get some better suits.
Not a requirement.
No, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
I am just writing a quick text to our friend Dave Capel, who texted me to say, hey, Ken, I'm stuck in heavy traffic at Queens Plaza. Maybe a little late, Dave, but Queens Plaza's not too far from here. It's just getting over the bridge. He's in a car. So, and anyway, so Dave's on his way, and I also got a text from Wallace, who's on his way.
Great.
So we'll be good for sunny May.
Okay.
But let's do AHC consent item. It's number 7 on the agenda. And it's a resolution authorizing the award of grant funds for certain projects, as they like to say. I don't know, does anyone have any questions for Dominic? Where is Dominic back? He's always in the back. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? Would you like us to approve your project today? Oh, okay, let's do it. Joe, what do you think?
Okay. Now before AHC,
Wait a minute. Nope. That's,
now before AHC is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously recorded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
great. And as always, there's, write-ups of all the projects in the board materials. And, hats off to Dominic and his team for their great work. Thank you, Joe. The next item is an informational item. It's the current agency procurements contracts in the lobbying restricted period, something we always have to pay attention to. And now we're going to move to HTFC agenda items. And, I'm just wondering with the commissioner next to me, when are you, I don't have it in the notes today. When are you going to give a report if you decided not to do that?
I have one. I can do it
Should we wait
whenever.
till sunny May? When
whenever,
everybody's,
Wait till Dave gets here.
should we do it when the sunny May, we're about to start sunny
Dave
May.
and Wallace.
And didn't you testify yesterday?
I did.
How'd it go?
It was good.
Don't answer that, but answer that when everybody's here. Did you get it for money?
Ask Jesse what he thinks. He's the.
Jesse,
he's
how'd
the
you do?
arbiter Of all budget hearings.
She did great, kudos. I know it's probably the least favorite part of your job, especially when you have to defend things that you don't always control. So kudos and thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. It was,
You mean they asked her to explain the governor's proposed $1 billion cuts to Medicaid? You don't control that, do you? Or
I don't.
about $420 million in missing school aid money, depending to the school district, according to the School District Association?
I was also asked something about like the New York City watershed and can I like deal with the New York City watershed? And I was like, yeah, it's a little outside my scope.
You know what? All of our projects have low flow toilets. We're doing our best to save water. Look, every single write-up, there's a low flow toilet. Come on,
I love that.
1.5 gallon per flush.
I should have said that.
Thank you, Jesse. We'll have you repeat. We'll get a full version of this when the Sunny May colleagues are here and Ruth Ann can give us her monthly report. In the meantime, we're going to go to HTFC agenda items. Number 1, the first item on the agenda is the minutes of the board, which were held back on January 25th, not long ago, it seems to me. The minutes shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from members and directors. Everybody go over the minutes?
Yes.
Great. 2, resolution authorizing affordable homeownership program award for the Greater Rochester Housing Partnership. Fantastic. Let's get upstate. Too much in Brooklyn and the Bronx today. Let's get to Monroe County. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great project.
Great. So we're excited. We're requesting $1 million in AHOP subsidy to support the construction of 5 affordable single-family homes in Rochester, New York. Our sponsor here is the Greater Rochester Housing Partnership, which is a nonprofit housing developer and lender. Began operations in 1992, sort of conceived of and initially capitalized by the municipality of Rochester. They're actually the lender on another project that this board has approved with Greater Rochester Habitat for Humanity. Our participating lender here is CPC, and the homes consist of 1 2-bedroom and 4 3-bedrooms. These are sort of the final 5 in a broader 24-home project that GRHP has been undergoing in conjunction with the city of Rochester. They've been using municipal funds for a lot of these, and now sort of rounding it out with bringing some AHOP money into these. What that means, and I think this is sort of exciting, is that there's lots of learnings from the previous rounds about hard costs, about appraised values, about how to market these, about, sort of the quirks of the design, all that sort of stuff that we can sort of learn from and apply to this project. So we're anticipating it going smoothly. All the homes are visitable, all electric, and designed with longevity in mind. And these are located in the Upper Falls neighborhood, so directly north of downtown Rochester. Very standard suite of construction sources. They have a small charitable donation that they're bringing to bear here. And the perm sources include about $900,000 in ARPA funds from the city. So reaching some very deep affordability here as part of the sort of broader plan. These prices are in line with that. 43% of AMI for the 2-bedroom and an average of 47% of AMI for the 3 bedrooms. Sales prices hover just over $100,000 a home. I will leave it there unless anyone has any questions.
That's super helpful. That's great. Questions? Yeah, that's true.
It's me in Syracuse. I just want to say that I'm really happy to see the 3-bedroom. It's a big need upstate. Our families tend to be bigger, I guess. I don't know.
Big need downstate also.
Have they in the other rounds that they did with the city, have those sold? Like, have they finished those and they've sold? So they have that part of the process down too?
There's been multiple phases, so they have finished and sold a lot of them. I think there may be like 3 or 4 that they're still in the process of marketing and selling. But yeah, it's been a multi-phase deal.
Great, okay, let's, should we do it? I guess we're gonna do them together.
No, we're just gonna do item 2.
Sarah, you're good. I'm sorry, it's turning to Joe. You're gonna do them,
Yep.
right, Sarah? Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I'm just gonna note Sadie's recusal for the record. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an affordable homeownership opportunity program award for the Greater Rochester Housing Partnership, assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much. 3 is a resolution authorizing Community Development Block Grant Economic Development Program Awards. I'm looking, where's Crystal?
Hi, is it possible
morning.
is it possible to mute on that end? We're getting a lot of echo and feedback.
We can try. Let's see what happens. I don't know, I turned off
Thank you.
a couple microphones. Did that help?
I'll text. Not yet. Maybe is Syracuse muted?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we did. Lil's coming to chat.
Okay, thank you.
Turn my microphone off. Let's see what happens. Jimmy, why don't you turn off that microphone?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This month, the Office of Community Renewal is requesting approval for 2 new CDBG Economic Development Program awards. With board approval, we will award and enter into agreements for $435,000 to Niagara County to support Niagara Truck Center and $300,000 to Wyoming County to support the continuation of a local microenterprise grant program. Full details are on the memo. I'm happy to answer any questions from the members.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Is there any questions with this on the item? Hearing none. Crystal, why don't you, or sorry, Sarah, this is your.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing a community development block grant economic development program awards, assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thank you both. Let's go to 7, a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with Emphasis Computer Solutions, Inc. Who's got this one?
No, we're on 4.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I skipped a page. Crystal's still there. Why don't you tell us about 4, a resolution authorizing the Neighborhood and Rural Preservation Program Awards?
Sure. Just over $25 million was included in the New York State budget for the Neighborhood and Rural preservation programs. This is an annual program that provides administrative funding to support a network of nearly 200 rural and neighborhood preservation companies. Most of the awards were approved by the board last June, but we opened a notice of funding availability to allow some new organizations to join the program to fill vacancies from organizations that dissolved or were terminated from the program. We have reviewed the applications received and we're requesting board approval to issue awards for one new neighborhood preservation company, Jubilee Homes in Syracuse, and two new rural preservation companies, CAP 21, also known as Living ADK, covering parts of Hamilton County, and Seneca Housing, covering Seneca County. Full details are in the memo, but I'm happy to answer any questions from the members.
Any questions for Crystal?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sarah, can you make it real?
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing neighborhood and rural preservation program awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. The resolution adopted.
Great, thank you very much. Number 5 is a resolution authorizing a downtown revitalization initiative award for the Landmark Society of Western New York. Again, we're going to go back to Crystal, please.
We are requesting board approval to enter into grant agreement for a $200,000 DRI award to the Landmark Society of Western New York. As you know, we work in partnership with DOS and ESD on DRI activities. In this case, the project was originally assigned to DOS, but once a connection was identified with another HCR award, it was suggested that it made sense to handle it directly here. The funding is for improvements to St. Joseph's Park in Rochester, which complements the Finance and Development Project Alta Vista, which also received DRI funding. So we are seeking board approval to enter into the grant agreement, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the members.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Questions, anybody? Great, Sarah, your turn.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing a downtown revitalization initiative award for the Landmark Society of Western New York. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Terrific. Let's do one more. The resolution authorizing a targeted home improvement program awards. Back to Crystal.
These are called THIP awards. $50 million was included in the 23-24 budget for a homeowner stabilization program. This is yet another area that the commissioner so expertly and gracefully answered questions about yesterday when put on the spot, so thank you for that. This funding was intended to support the expansion of an owner-occupied home repair program piloted in East Buffalo known as BHIP. An analysis was completed to identify zip codes throughout the state to target the funding to areas of persistent and structural discrimination in housing. With this analysis, one community was identified in each of the 9 REDC regions outside of Western New York for this targeted home improvement program, or THIP. The village of Hempstead, the Bronx, Newburgh, Albany, Binghamton, Utica, Syracuse, Watertown, and Rochester. We issued a NOFA in late October. We have reviewed the applications received, and we are proposing awards to each of the 12 applicants, totaling $41 million. The list of awardees and areas served are included in the board materials, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Crystal, thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah, I would just comment, this is really, an awesome, back to you, Crystal and Dina and the team, right? This is looking at areas with a lot of Black and brown homeowners and a lot of housing distress and going in a really targeted way and offering home improvements so people can stay stably housed in those communities and not become, sort of struggling with repairs and going into tax foreclosure and really trying to stem the tide on that. So it's really exciting to see this roll out. So thank you, Crystal.
Thanks, Ruth Ann.
Thank you.
If there are any questions, let's move this one to Sarah.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing targeted home improvement program awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Now we'll go to item 7, the one I skipped ahead to last time. Sorry. And 7 is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract that we have with Emphasis Computer Solutions, Inc. And I think Dan was going to do this, right?
Yep.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just a reminder, if you're listening somewhere else to mute. This is an ongoing contract we have with Emphasis. They are providing the new technology solution for Section 8. We did a lot of training last summer with our local administrators, but if you're like me, you don't really to ask until you start using something. And that's the case with many of our LAs. They've overwhelmingly asked for additional training. And in the interest of keeping the program going and making this transformation successful, we're asking for a contract amendment to offer a little bit more training and a little bit more support for a few more months to make this project a success.
Any questions for Deb? Sarah, you're going to do this one first too?
Yep. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with Emphasis Computer Solutions. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan. Number 8, a resolution authorizing a preventive troubled asset program award for Stoneview Heights. Let's do this one. Oh, Margaret fell. She there.
Good morning.
Let me see this. Margaret, we can, well, it's all right.
Yeah, we can see you.
We are requesting a PTAP award not to exceed $400,000 for the Stoneview Heights Apartments located in Cobleskill, New York. If you're wondering where that is, it's about 40 minutes to the west from Albany and 40 minutes to the east from Utica. The project, the request will be for the replacement of boilers, window replacements, drainage system, broken water pipes, and replacement of a deteriorated parking area, all of which are we have deemed as exigent health and safety.
Thank you, Margaret. Sounds like a good project in beautiful Schoharie County. Anybody have any questions about it?
When was this constructed?
Margaret,
This was constructed in 2000.
Just amazes me that such recent projects with such in bad shape.
Well, yeah, the Mitchell Lama project we started today's meeting with went 40 years from construction to the first intervention by this agency. You know, but that's not a good thing either. And those were built well, but 40 years is a long time. Well, maybe that's why. So, but I'm saying it's not probably doesn't work to let buildings like that go so long without a major rehab. You know, some investment.
We're just replacing the boiler with the same.
Margaret, can you?
No, it will be an energy efficient boiler. We have run the scope of work through our Office of A&E.
It's environmentally friendly coal. It's a clean coal boiler. No, so Margaret, thank you very much. Great project, great and important community. So any other questions or comments? If not, let's go to Sarah.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing a preventive troubled asset program for Liberty Affordable Housing for Stoneview Heights. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Number 9, resolution authorizing Leading in Lead Prevention Pilot Program Awards. And Rachel's going to do this. Good morning.
Good morning. This is a authorization to award 16 local health departments $18,002,879 for lead remediation in rental buildings. This is a project that we're going to run through the Office of Community Renewal. We have a director of the program, Stacy Thayer, who's in the on video. Say hi.
Nice, Stacy. Welcome.
There was an amendment to the public health law this last fiscal year, to create a mandatory rental registry in certain zip codes within 19 counties that the Department of Health has classified as communities of concern. At the same time, HCR received $20 million in subsidy to support remediation of LES hazards that are identified. The rental registry is not going to be up and running until the fall of 2025, but we have the funds now, so we're proactively awarding the counties to be able to get started working with landlords on remediation. Happy to answer any questions.
The funding is just for kind of assessment, planning, not actual remediation, or is remediation
Actual
included?
remediation. The New York State Health Department has a program called the Childhood Lead Prevention Program, CLIP, where they pay the counties to do inspections and clearances. So this funding will just do the remediation. Yeah.
Good. Any other questions for Rachel? Okay. This is also Sarah. Sarah, can you take care of this?
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing meeting and lead prevention pilot program awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great, thanks. Before we let Rachel leave the table, we'll do 10, a resolution authorizing Hurricane Ida resilient investments through support and capital program awards. When was Hurricane Ida anyway, Joyce?
I was wondering.
It was after Sandy, that much I can tell you.
I was born, I think.
Yeah, but you know, that HUD money, we've talked about those funds move their way slowly through the system. Rachel, what's going on?
Yeah, this is requesting authorization to award 19 localities, $3.8 million in total. These are all planning dollars for them to do studies, resiliency, sort of waterfront studies, drainage studies. Each locality was able to apply for 3 separate projects of up to 200,000. We're working with them all now to determine exactly how much each study will cost, but we're requesting authorization to award up to the maximum per locality.
And they did applications and could request up to $200,000.
Correct.
It's remarkable that they all went for that number. There's a consistency. Isn't it incredible? They all need exactly the same amount of money.
And they will.
What?
They will,
Out of every single one.
they will actually,
Pure coincidence. It's a coincidence.
they will be awarded only the amount that we determine the study needs for funding, but that is work that is still under, that we're still doing. It's going to take a few more months.
Where do I get the money to do the work that's recommended in the study?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So we're going to be providing them assistance to apply for federal funds. There's a lot of different federal funds that could pay for the capital work in these programs. The main one is probably FEMA BRIC, which is a new-ish program. It's a few years old. And we're considering whether we would be able to provide the local match for that. It wouldn't be part of this initiative. It would have to be a new one. But if we have remaining IDA funds, we would, I think, consider that.
The actual work is probably going to be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
For most of these.
Well,
It's fascinating, though, that the same problem is being dealt with in such a piecemeal fashion
Right.
by different programs and different agencies at different levels of government.
2012, I had to look it up. It was 2021.
Was it?
So that's
It's a little over
that's
2
reasonably
years
recent
ago.
for the federal government. Yeah.
Getting better.
Yeah, this money will pay for mops and buckets and stuff to go get the water. Yeah.
Precisely.
Okay. Very good. Anything else? If not, Sarah, we're going to do this one too, please.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing Hurricane Ida resilient investments through support and capital program awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much. Sarah, thank you. Now we've got 13, which is a resolution authorizing an amendment to a contract that we have with Tetra Tech, Inc. Again, this is to Rachel.
Yeah.
Is it 11?
This is
Oh, did I skip one?
You said
Th-
13,
no,
but I think we're on
11.
No, there is no.
Here, but.
You know what? In my notes, we went from
Yeah.
Hurricane Ida Resilient Investments, which we just did, which was 10 to 13. And don't ask, oh, well, you know what? Someone numbered them.
Yeah, they're just.
It looks
Alex
like
did
the
this.
outline
Alex
is
did this
misnumbered,
to
but
make sure I was paying attention.
Sarah.
the next
Oh,
item
sorry, go ahead,
is
Sarah.
tech.
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's just they're not numbered right. We could call it 11. It says
It's
13.
11.
Rachel, I'm sorry, would you do Tetra Tech?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
We're requesting authorization to extend RHC, the Office of Resilient Homes and Communities, an additional 18 months. There are no additional funds needed. They are supporting a microgrids project in Schenectady that a local arts center and theater is a subrecipient in managing. And there have been delays in getting the project completed, but we do not need any additional funds, just time.
Very good. Sarah, can you take care of that one, which is, again, to correct the record, it's actually number 11?
Yep. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with Tetra Tech, Inc. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Thanks, Rachel.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Now, we'll go to 12. How about that? Resolution approving the secret classification of the Pitkin Avenue residences, a Housing Works project I think we've seen. And Heather's got this, right?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
This morning, I'm presenting the Pitkin Avenue Residences, which is being sponsored by Housing Works Incorporated. They propose new construction of an 8-story, 39-unit building at 2605 Pitkin Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. There are no unmitigated adverse environmental impacts, and at this point, I recommend the action be classified as an unlisted action and a seeker negative declaration be made. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Heather. Anybody have questions? Then we'll go back to Sarah to make it real.
This is the conversion of a low-level commercial site into a residential building. Great use of land.
Yes, demo says of 3, I
Yeah.
think it's 2 servants, yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay, Sarah, please, if you could.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution approving the secret classification of Pitkin Avenue residences. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Good. Thank you very much, Sarah. The next item was sent to the members under separate cover. It's a resolution authorizing an extension of the contract that we have with Gibney, Anthony, and Flaherty LLP. Under separate cover means I gotta find them.
Amy, you're going to present this one?
Yep, I am. Okay, so we had an RFP for immigration firms. There were 3 firms. As our previous non-bond counsel didn't have immigration listed, we've had an ongoing visa issue that they've been handling for us. And we need their services to continue as we have the next round of visa lotteries. So we're asking for a 1-year extension on this firm contract.
Great. Any questions? Sarah, thank you.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an extension of the contract with Gibney, Anthony, and Flaherty LLP. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everybody. The remainder of the agenda items are informational. There'll be no presentation on them unless so requested by any of our members. This is 13, a review of the secret type 2 actions. 14, a review of procurement internal audit report for the Office of Resilient Homes and Communities. And 15, a review of the current energy procurements and contracts, as we always do in the lobbying restricted period. That was 15. Now, there being no further business for HFA, HTFC, and the AHC boards, I'll ask Joe, please, for motions and second to adjourn this morning's meetings.
So moved.
But will you wait? He hasn't done his-
Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, HTFC, and AHC boards, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motions are carried. The meetings are adjourned.
Good, Joe. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Joyce, for seconding the motion like that. We have a 15-minute break because I believe
Wow.
we said that we'd start SONYMA at 10:30. So we know that our SONYMA board members are on their way. I haven't heard from,
We never finished early. I don't know what to do.
I'm not sure what we're supposed to do now. Everybody go do some work.
Go get coffee.
Come on.
Go have coffee.
This is on the dime of the taxpayers of the great state of New York. Do something.
Remember all the mics are on.
Yes, let's remember that.
I don't know what.
Well,
Big guy.
Yeah.
Say much.
It's
like, come on. I know
you're big, but
geez.
Yeah.
It's
Split agenda. It's hard to figure it in.
it's
but,
crazy.
Hi, how are you? Good, thanks.
They are very happy.
So funny, Ginger flew in last night. She's here for a couple days. And
Oh.
her housemate sent that picture
That's amazing.
of this happened 10 o'clock at night till when they woke up this morning.
How often does she ski?
A lot. I mean, on the weekends.
Okay.
I mean.
It's not like she goes into for work before work. That's amazing. Is that all
Well, she works remotely. That's just, that's typical.
They're
The-
hiking?
The Grand Tetons. Those are friends
Beautiful
of hers
out
who went, yeah, those are friends of hers who went hiking.
How often do you go out there?
No, I'm going in the end of March.
Oh.
I haven't been. She's been
Oh.
like 3 winters. She's been out there 3 years.
You really should go. I only went once, but it was beautiful.
I haven't been since I was,
We went and we, last year for spring break and we took our kids on what's called a winter safari where a guy drives you around and you look for, all the crazy wildlife and snow.
I made her
So
wear a
beautiful.
Lombardi t-shirt.
It's
She's a
me.
snowboarder.
Oh,
She's a
that is
snowboarder.
so beautiful.
So they're, yeah, on the weekends. What they do is all of the 20-something kids, and she says it's college 2.0, it's a town of people. You get a
Can they
job
find housing?
outside of town and,
How far?
4 or 5 rent a house
Okay.
for them stove and to shovel snow off the roof and stuff like that. Oh, it's great. It's the whole,
And they
They
can
have
find
to make
housing
that.
outside town.
So, yeah, and everybody works. And
Yeah.
She's here for meetings with the company she works with. Time to start? Yeah, we need,
So she doesn't work for a Jackson based.
Will you come back? Joyce, I'm back.
Yes, she is.
Joyce doesn't, right? All right, Joyce, when you can come back, that would be good. And James.
Her company isn't based in Jackson. She just.
It's one of your bosses in the West Village. Actually, the company's based here. It's a market research stuff that she does. She does 100% remote.
Living there for.
She's living. Well, the reason I'm going in late March is she said when they close the mountain this year, which is in April, because it's a national park, they close early. Shortly after that, she's returning to New York.
Oh.
She's done, like she says, it's a scene,
Yeah.
or it's great after college to do something like that, but 3 winters is enough.
Well,
Uh,
right.
She's
She's very mature.
yeah, that's probably a good idea. So that's why I'm going, because I gotta go while she's still there.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Uh-oh, didn't happen today. I didn't know what he-
Where did James go?
I thought,
Oh.
he was getting coffee. I thought I saw.
They're right, he's right here.
Skies.
Oh.
Like a
Camouflage.
parallel.
Member Miller, we're ready to start. Member Freeman. Whenever you're ready. Your big summit. Yeah, we had a little, it's nice to have a little break there. Refresh our coffee and catch up. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I do want to, you see Alex in the Zoom there. We waved to Alex, but he has really passed the baton, our legal proceedings and running through the meeting and all that to Joe Palazzola. Joe's a, 8-year veteran? How many years have been here? I said 8. 15. No. 2008. That I had an 8 at the back of my mind. And has done a number of things in government affairs and legal affairs in the counsel's office. And he's done projects and deals over the years, a broad portfolio, lots of knowledge, and lots of institutional memory, which is super helpful. So thank you, Joe. Would you please do us the honors of opening up our Sunny May meetings today?
Thank you. I will ask for a motion for the Sunny May board. Second. I will accept the previous votes of Chairman Adams, Mr. Snauskas, Ms. Miller, Ms. Gonzalez, and Mr. Alzak, all of whom voted to open up the meeting earlier at HFA, HTFC meetings. Professor Ford? Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
We'll ask for a motion for Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee.
So move.
Second? I'll accept the prior votes of Chairman Adams, Mr. Wisnowski, Gonzalez, Mr. Olzak, and Mr. Capel.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everybody. We are going to take up the Sunny May board items, and but I'd like to start before we jump into minutes and things like that by asking Ruth Ann if she'd be kind enough to give us the monthly report.
I'd be delighted to, thank you. So I was just gonna talk about three,
One of the microphones was covered by something and
Yeah,
creating a
mine.
lot of crinkling noise.
oh,
Oh, sorry.
there we go. Is that better?
It's not
Yeah.
Oh,
You weren't crinkling.
mine was off, I realized.
Somebody was great.
Okay.
You were.
Oh, you were crinkling? All right. We're not gonna say who it was. I'll talk about a couple of things. I testified yesterday, which I'll talk about, but we also had two great governor announcements in the last week. So I'll talk about those first. As folks may remember, last July, at the end of the legislative session, the governor did an executive order and she announced a bunch of things that she could control that she was going to do around housing. One of them was launching this thing called the Pro Housing Communities Program. So we have been since that time talking about that, launching it. We opened the application for it in September. And the idea around it was localities could get certified as pro housing communities. The state has NYSERDA has a climate friendly community certification. So it's sort of a parallel to that. And the idea is you would send us a letter of intent, you give us your zoning data and your building permit data, and then you either have growth that is reflective of what our goals are around local growth, or if you aren't growing based on your permit data, you can pass a local resolution that talks about removing barriers to housing, embracing housing growth, things like that. So it's a fairly simple application, we think. And if you do it, previously you would get priority for a series of state programs that go to municipalities, and the governor is now proposing that it's actually a requirement for those programs that you be certified. All of which is to say, we announced week before last that we've certified the first 20 communities and we have another 80 communities. So we have about 100 total that are interested in becoming certified communities. And it's great. We have a small but mighty team of folks in here who are reviewing all the applications and getting people certified. And again, we think it's sort of not the ultimate tool, but it's sort of a tool in the toolbox of getting housing supply front and center for localities across the state. So that is great. Another thing the governor announced last July was that she was going to have ESD create pilots for projects in New York City that were certified, that were grandfathered in 421A, but because the program completion date was coming up too soon, many projects hadn't started. So she announced this pilot in Gowanus. And announced last week that 18 projects of over 5,000 units have applied to ESD to take them up on this sort of 421A like pilot program. The first we were at the first building, which is a couple hundred units, includes about 150 units of very low income, permanently affordable housing, which is great. So two things that sort of delivering on from last July's announcement. Fast forwarding to now, as I said yesterday, I testified on the governor's 2025 budget. Which includes a series of things. The main ones that I'll talk about are a little bit of a reprise from last year, and they are very New York City focused and aimed at helping the mayor and New York City achieve their moonshot goal of 500,000 units over the next 10 years in the city of New York, which is a very big goal given where the city is right now. There currently are, there's historically been, 20 to maybe 30,000 units permitted each year in the city of New York. So to get to 50,000 units is a big growth. So the governor proposed a new 421A program, extending the deadline on the existing one, which allows sort of stalled projects to move forward more quickly, removing the residential density cap. There's this thing called FAR 12, this residential density cap in the city of New York, legalizing basement apartments, and a fifth thing that I'm forgetting. Anyone, back row? I think there's a fifth thing, but I'm forgetting what it is. Oh, commercial and a taxes, thank you. and a tax incentive to create affordability for commercial conversions. So those are sort of 5 pieces very much at the center of our, so the New York City part of the governor's housing agenda for this year. So I testified yesterday in front of the legislature. I didn't actually get very many questions about most of those things. I got questions about a lot of other things, some of that. But overall, I think it went well, and we are now, 30, 45 days into sort of the last, final stretch of budget negotiations. So the houses in theory will drop their budgets. Jesse maybe knows, but ideally maybe next week sometime. I don't know. We'll see where the houses are in the budgets, and then we'll start the fun of sorting out.
Yeah, it's usually typically very beginning of March, the House is on the West Coast, and then shortly thereafter, negotiation will pick up. But I do again want to give the commission kudos for testimony. Yesterday, it was a great job. It is not always in situations, so thank you.
Thank you. It takes a village. I was happy to do my part. And with that, I'm happy to answer questions, but otherwise I'll turn it back.
I have just a quick question. If you could go back to, I think the third item on your list was this idea that, and the ESD project in the Gowanus, and that could somehow be expanded, or they have, what did you say, 2,000 units?
5,000.
Go back to that for a second.
Yep,
Like, what happened there? Is it limited just to that one site?
Yeah, so when the Gowanus was rezoned, the community fought very long and hard for their rezoning there to get residential development, to get low income housing, to get it to be permanently affordable. But many projects, because the 421A deadline, you have to complete your project by 2026. In the midst of sort of COVID and other things, a lot of projects sort of stalled, and then with the extension there, looming, stopped. And so last year we proposed to extend the deadline for the 428 program. It didn't pass. So
But just for that rezoning?
We proposed in the budget to extend it for everybody.
Right.
But in July, the governor said, you know what, I'm going to start a pilot and let's just see if people need this extension or not. Because we can pass the legislature. So she said, we'll use ESD, which can provide pilots. We'll give them the same tax exemption that the 421A required. And let's see who raises their hand. And the ESD got 18 applications for over 5,000 units of housing, including 1,400 permanently affordable housing units.
In that area.
Just in the Gowanus area. Yeah.
But I'm going back to why it's ESD, because ESD.
And provide pilots.
Act like an idea.
The total universe of potential apartments.
In the rezoning itself?
So.
I think it was like over 8,000 just the total. So we got a little over 5,000 that actually said, with the extension, we'll go forward.
But if it's been so successful, why not open it up to other sites or other, like, we were just looking at the Bronx at this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some politics in whether the governor is going to keep going neighborhood by neighborhood, or whether the state legislature should enact the program. So it's as of right and available as it has been, and it should be.
And what's happening with soil contamination?
I think a lot of those projects are doing, the ones that need
It's a
are
super
doing
fun site.
they're doing remediation, and that adds to the complexity of those sites and adds to the issues with the
timing
extension, timing, yeah. But it's great to get it all cleaned up, right? All these buildings going there means they're.
No, it's remarkable. I've walked along. It's like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I had some students that did a paper on it.
Oh, really?
Keep your eye on Newtown Creek, super fun site, right? And Flushing Creek. Right?
Yeah.
Flushing Basin behind Willets Point. I mean, all these are like historically contaminated areas.
Yeah.
And it basically, my view has always been, if you can clean up the Gowanus Canal, which no one thought you could do. You need federal designation. These other old industrial sites that were just dumping grounds for all sorts of toxins.
Yeah.
In many respects, if you can clean it up, they're great sites for.
It's a huge
housing development.
reclamation project. Imagine it's very expensive.
It's hugely expensive.
I think it doesn't come out of our budget.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Mr. Ford and I had looked at an article, the New York Times says the housing crunch is the tightest in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the city of New York does what's called a housing vacancy survey with the US Census every 3 years. They missed a year kind of because of COVID. So their results came out this year for the study that concluded last year. And they said that the vacancy rate in the city of New York was about 1.4%, which is the lowest it's been in 68 years or something like that, or 58 years. And it's even lower when they break it up by apartment rental rate. So it reported that for apartments that rent for less than $2,400, it's a functional zero vacancy rate.
Wow. Zero vacancy.
Very depressing for people looking to buy it. In the city of New York, especially one at $2,400 or less. So yeah, it was a very stark, right? The sort of comparison is that a healthy vacancy rate is between 5 and 10%. New York City has been below 5, obviously, for a very long time, but to go to 1.4, it was at the last survey, I think it was 4, hovering around 4. So it dropped substantially to get to 1.4.
It hasn't been that low since World War II, I think.
I think it said since 58 years, 68 years, it was something like that.
Is that due to,
It's a lot of stress on the housing market. It's a lot of stress on families looking for apartments.
is that due to people moving in and less people moving out to the suburbs, more people coming into the state?
Yeah, so there's definitely a net, the vacancy survey reported that there were 33,000 apartments created since the last survey and 275,000, I don't know if it's individuals, maybe that had come into the city.
We have a lot more families, single people.
It does give some, I'm not sure what they have published on, but they have a fairly detailed breakdown from their study that they do about how that breaks down in terms of by income level and also looks at sort of the status of the housing stock in terms of violations and that's sort of the health of the stock.
Wow. All right, well, with that.
One question for Ruth Ann. Ruth Ann, on the pro-housing community project, those communities that can't demonstrate past performance, are they going to be required to show that they actually have zoning on the books to facilitate?
They don't have to show that they have capacity to grow, but they have to, they would have to pass if they can't grow or they're not growing, they have to pass the local resolution that has this series of affirmative statements and they can't change the language. So it has these very sort of clear things around we commit to removing barriers, we commit to reducing regulation, we commit to affirmatively furthering fair housing, those types of things.
But no requirement for zoning.
Just carrot, no. You may have heard the governor say for this go round.
This may sound like a kind of obvious question, but when we're looking at the vacancy rates, are we also looking at housing units for sale?
Housing and vacancy survey that the New York City does with the US Census does not look at that. They're looking at rental. So keeping honest, so I think we've got that.
And there's the other concern that even in rental buildings that, and I'm just reading this as it's probably, it's fair to say it's episodic, I don't know, but we're, because people can afford it, are demanding more space, that where there's 2 1-bedroom apartments, that's now merged into 1 3-bedroom apartment. And there you go.
That was a fascinating article. It came out a couple months ago, right? And it said they'd lost.
Profiles and buildings in the Upper West Side.
And in the village too, I think.
Right.
I think it said that there were.
Glad I'm reading the right material.
I think the stat was something like 200,000 units of housing, maybe
really study.
over like a 20-year period or something.
Center or something, from Columbia. It's a study, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
The number was
Well,
staggering.
really
It's over a long period of time, but like in the West Village, it had said like all these, 6-unit, 8-unit walk-ups were now like single-family homes. And I looked at this.
Right.
There was that also, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of was, the phenomenon of
There was a lot
a
of community.
family
efforts
buying
for that.
a brownstone that used to have, I think 4 stories, could have had 8 units, could have been a rooming house with, many like,
Right.
Mhm.
And then over time, that becomes a 1 family. So.
Or the
you
co-op,
lose-
like you
lose
said,
the
you
depth-
you
you
buy
lose
your
the
neighbor.
depth. Right.
Yeah.
Co-ops, they buy the next apartment and they.
Yeah, but it was amazing over a period of time, how that number.
It seems to have accelerated a lot in the last decade, I guess, as enormous wealth has now been, is part of the
That's true.
scenario these days. Now, there's always been rich people in New York, Lord knows, but that has spiked as well.
A lot more probably and younger.
It's affecting small towns too. In Greenport, we had, as a result of the depressed conditions after the Second World War, a lot of larger single-family homes were converted to 2-family, which is permitted in Greenport. And with the recent wave of gentrification, a lot of those 2 families have been converted back now to 1 family.
Yeah.
So I think
The same trend.
you see that in a lot of small towns all across that state too. Big old homes become apartment buildings or, rentals. Well, with all that background, at least we're about to discuss, I think, 4 projects that will add some new affordable units to this.
Solve the whole problem, right?
To this, yeah. Well, we won't solve it all this morning, but we'll move in the right direction.
The minutes.
Yes, thank you, Joyce, for that reminder. The first item is the minutes which are in the board book. I hope you all had a chance to take a look at them. They shall be deemed approved unless anyone has any corrections, suggestions, or amendments. Okay, so now we'll take up the items that require SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee action. Mike has joined us at the table. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Let's start with number 2, just because there was no number 1, but we're starting with number 2. Numbering today's resolution of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $5,930,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for a project in the Bronx called the Jericho Project. Mike, good morning.
This comprises the construction of 2 buildings with 129 all low-income units, of which 78 are supportive units. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's a $15.6 million HFA Supportive Housing Opportunities Program loan, a $15.85 million HPD Supportive Housing Loan Program. There's $32 million in federal low-income housing tax credits and $1.4 million a year in New York City 1515 rent subsidies provided by HPD. And there's a full 420C real estate tax abatement. It's being developed and managed by the Jericho Project. The Jericho Project is a not-for-profit with more than 35 years of experience providing congregate supportive housing for single adults. And it operates 8 facilities with 581 units, and it will manage this project as well. The loan amount, the insured loan amount is $46,000 per unit, which equals 8% of the project's total development cost of $593,000 per unit.
All right.
I didn't see a number for the developer's equity on this one.
The developer equity is really the tax credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions for Mike on this? Joe, can you help us out?
Now, before the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. The next items on the agenda require both Mortgage Insurance Committee action and board actions. This is for everybody. Item 3, or 2, depending on how you count. Resolutions of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee and the SONYMA Board recommending approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $5,525,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for the Ulster Portfolio Project, or set of projects, in Ulster County. Mike, this is back to you.
This comprises the rehab of 3 projects with a total of 212 all low-income units. 82 of the units have a project-based Section 8 HAP contract, and 132 of the units are senior units. There's a $16.3 million HFA multifamily preservation program loan and $14.6 million from state low-income housing tax credits. There's a project-based Section 8 HAP contract covering 82 of the units. All of the units have pilot agreements with local government.
Yeah, 3 different pilots with.
Yeah, three different,
right?
local governments.
Three different towns.
Yeah, the project is being rehabbed by Beacon Communities Limited Liability Company, which owns and manages approximately 19,000 apartments. And in 2022, Beacon acquired the New York portfolio of North Star US. The insured loan amount is $26,000 per unit, which equals 13% of the project's total development cost of $203,000 per unit.
All right. Good. Any questions for Mike on this project in Ulster County?
Yeah, pilot is already settled, the amounts,
Yes,
so it's been negotiated already.
yes,
So there's no chance of it.
Going away?
Exactly.
right. And they're 30-year pilots.
What's the regulatory agreements now?
What's what?
The length of the regulatory agreement.
This one, I don't, do you know what this one is, Mike? I mean, they're at least 30, sometimes they're 35, and on the Mitchell Lum, it's about 40.
And this is 40.
Okay.
At least
Okay.
the mortgage insurance is for 40.
Okay.
Just 40 a month. Great. Any other questions for Mike? Thank you, Joe.
Now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Number 4, resolutions, again, a combo here. Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and of the Sunny Mae Board recommending and approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $10,280,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for the Marcus Garvey Extension Phase 2, Buildings C and E, and this is in Brooklyn or Kings County.
Yes. This comprises the construction of 178 all low-income units, including 82 supportive housing units for formerly incarcerated individuals. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's 22.5 million HPD supportive housing loan program loan. There's a 20.4 million HFA supportive housing opportunities program loan. There's 52 million from federal low-income housing tax credits, 14 million from state low-income housing credits. And there's an HI contract which provide annual rent subsidies of $856,000 per annum. Project is being developed by Osborne Associates, which for over 80 years has provided programs and services currently and formerly incarcerated individuals. And the program will be managed by Osborne.
Questions for Mike about this?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. One, in terms of this integration of formerly incarcerated individuals with low income families. I'm looking at and reading as we're going along in terms of workforce development programs, resume and job interview preparations, et cetera, which I'm sure individuals who are being released can benefit from these things. My question just has to do with, and I know this has been tried in other areas and other communities, just how is this going to work for, I mean, I'm a parent and 3 little kids, and we're looking for a place that says, oh yeah, we've got a great place, this new unit area. And if yeah, and oh, by the way, 80 something of the units will be 88 units are going to be reserved for individuals who are formerly incarcerated. Now, I've worked on multiple initiatives over the years with respect to trying to assist and support people who've been incarcerated. So I'm coming from that direction, but how are or is there any discussion even of how this is going to be conveyed to the just the low income tenants who are not part of this initiative?
I can add a couple of comments on that. I think we have done this model before. Mike, you guys insured building G, I think, right? Last year. And it had a similar, I think it was that building, maybe it was another one, had a similar makeup. So I'd say that, but I'll get to your answer. The second thing I would say is Osborne, obviously, is an organization that has done this before. They have built other buildings, and this is their model, part of their model, which is, great. They're a great organization with great services. And 3 is that, particularly in this location, the elected officials have very much asked and prioritized this because people coming out of the correctional system, obviously it's very hard to find housing, right? As you know, people are given a lot of support and then often can't be back close to where their families were if they can't go back in with their families and are looking for other housing. So on that, which is sort of a series of nice things to say, we have like a great organization that's done this in the past and has this model, a community that very much, an elected official very much asked us for this, and a team that has done this before. I don't know that I can speak to how they, like as part of the marketing process, how they communicate that to the families. We could certainly circle back with you on that, but I think feel comfortable because Osborne has done this in other buildings in their portfolio. They're one of probably 3 city-based nonprofits who work with formerly incarcerated.
But here's the main question also. You have a historic area, Brownsville, who has had problems with crime rates, no economic development. Greg Jackson goes in, builds a community center, does a lot of work. Now you're gonna take 78 formerly incarcerated individuals, put them back in a setting where there's no economic development. How's that gonna be successful?
Well, as I said, Osborne, I mean, this is sort of what they do, right? Is
It's
they work
nice
to
that they
connect.
build buildings,
I'm sorry, what?
but
No, they are a service organization. They work with formerly incarcerated to get them connected to jobs and get them stably housed. And they're not I wouldn't say they're.
Didn't know they did their own development. Like, I know
They-
them from the Bronx.
They partner, right? They partner here.
Right,
They're
yeah.
not sort of the primary.
Right.
They tend to be a partner because they're coming in
But-
and they're bringing that.
But I think there's we don't know,
Right.
Wallace's question. I mean, and James raises a different issue altogether, but.
because
But they've done this before, right? We have other buildings
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that have the same model.
Right.
How do they do it? I guess.
But, yeah, we don't know. It'd be interesting to learn
What's-
more
what's the
about
secret?
when you have a third of the units. that we have, really.
I mean, I guess, I don't know that I could speak to their work. So.
I mean, there's a lot of, you're putting,
Familiar with their programs, they actually work holistically with the buildings, even though they aren't providing as intensive services as they do with the supportive clients. They really treat the building as a whole because many of the socioeconomic issues that impact the supportive clients impact the affordable residents too. So they really do take a holistic approach to provide activities for the residents. They do a lot of conflict and resolution mediation. They do offer a ton of workshops to get people ready for jobs. They offer that to the supportive residents and the non-supportive residents. And people do know what populations we're serving based on the marketing material. So when they go in and click the lotteries that they want to apply to, you see which units are supportive and which populations are going to be served in those units.
So there's some transparency.
There is some transparency. It's noted and advertised in the marketing of the lotteries.
How different is this project compared to the urban project? Because in the urban project, you got a health care facility, daycare facility, pharmacy, and other things that are being developed with it. This looks like it's just housing as a major portion of the phase that it's in. So what's the full scope of the project and what they're doing? I understand they do argumentative interventions and everything else, but what are they actually doing to help individuals who were previously incarcerated get back into the economic development to make a community instead of a hood/neighborhood? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that is what Osborne does, right? They are linking people to jobs. That is like the very essence, I think, of their mission.
People where they are. Certain people may be ready to go to work. They do an intensive training process before they place the residents in permanent housing.
Okay.
They make sure that they are ready for jobs, are ready to participate in programs, right? They are very good at screening their residents because they understand if they don't get this right, it's gonna be hard for them to site the next building. So I think we can definitely get you some more information about the totality or the full scope of Osborne's programming, but they do workforce development. They get folks job ready, but they also provide the socio and psychology, emotional kind of counseling that folks need to kind of heal from some of the trauma and from the impacts of being incarcerated. And they really are trying to help people get back connected to their families, connected to jobs, and that they can be like real contributing citizens and active participants in their neighborhood.
But, we've been speaking about, and part of the purpose of this whole organizational structure, of course, is to try to provide housing for people, kind of stating the obvious, right? And just with the statistics that were just being mentioned, it's pretty tough out there to find a place to live, even if you are, doing better than well-to-do. People at the low-income side of the scale are really finding it very difficult. And you're saying to, someone who's in that category, it's really tough finding a job. I've got something for you. Virtually half the building is going to have, they'll hear it as ex-cons. But it's a nice building, don't get me wrong. He said, but I've got 2 kids here, whatever. No, but we've got all the programs, we've got all of that going on. you're putting people in a really, I don't ever see any of these programs where it says low and middle income tenants where we also have formerly incarcerated individuals. I just never see that. Okay, and I'm not suggesting turn this whole thing over right now. I'll vote in support of it. But as I've said before, in other situations, I just wish that that could somehow be part of the conversation going forward, as opposed to accepting the fact that low-income people are basically put into a take it or leave it situation. You don't like that, then you can stay, in this, in a walk-up with no heat, and we'll let you know when something else comes along. So it just seems that we're putting more pressure on the people who can deal with it the least. Okay. And I just officially, I just moved into a co-op in the Bronx, right? A few months ago, and there's no way I don't say no way, but it's probably a very narrow window of opportunity for somebody who's been formerly incarcerated, even if they're doing really great things at this point, and I'm on the board of that, and I'd probably vote to have that person come in, but that's me. Okay, and that doesn't speak to the majority of folks in these situations at all.
I mean, look, but for us, right, this
Well,
housing
there's
would
that.
not be getting financed for this population, and it's true for mentally ill, substance abuse, domestic violence, right? Like for all of these sort of populations that need extra support, but for us financing it.
Yeah, but it's not that part of it.
Co-op.
I'm saying that the societal burden is going only on one segment of the of the community, and systemically that seems to be okay.
What's the alternative?
Well, the alternative is that same choice, if I put in quotes, that is being made to low income individuals. Middle income people are looking for housing too, and maybe it's not half the building. Okay, maybe half the building. It's not half. My math is not great, but it's close to half the building, right? It is made up of people formerly incarcerated. Maybe the program could, have some programs could have a different mix, if you will. If it was 10% of the of the units, maybe people might be a little bit more comfortable with that. But again, it just seems that low income people are always on the, take it or leave it. And, you can go back to, living with two other families in a walk up, and or you can move into this really nice building and it's just got this one little thing that I need to tell you about, right? And there you are, a single father, a single mother, or something like that. Jesus, yeah. It's
a problem. It would be, be helpful if we could get. I knew the woman she retired, who ran Osborne for many years.
Yeah.
And there's a new executive director. Maybe we could get her to a meeting. It's a really interesting question. It'd be great to have an expert explain how it works. I mean, of the flip, the other side of this is that, and we see this issue at LaGuardia. We launched 2 programs last year for formerly incarcerated students, and we want them to work on their associate degrees. Their number one issue is housing. They can't find a place to live. We have a transitional docs facility right behind us across the street, literally. So housing is it's like the number one challenge for people when they're released. But so we see that all the time. The one other way Osborne could do this, and this would be a question we could throw at them, is you do a building that's 100% of the units are formerly incarcerated. That could be another problem, right? That'd be from a social work, developmental community reintegration question. Who knows? I don't know. I'd be curious to ask Osborne, you could do this mix, which brings the issues that Wallace is talking about, or you could do it a building that's exclusive. You still get the Ishai Award, you still get the financing, and then they call that a halfway house, right? So it's hard to say what the right.
It's a prison without bars.
Bingo, right? What do you call it? Yeah. Let's well anyway, so can we think about maybe getting the new head of Osborne in here, a little informational session or something?
Sure. Yeah.
Would that be interesting?
And see us.
It's a great organization, but there's questions here that I think are all really good questions.
Because that's the thing,
I'm sorry, let James go.
It's on out just this sheet alone.
I would just note too that
for
the, I'm sorry.
I'm finished.
We have millions and millions of dollars that we move around every meeting. So the justification and the thought in providing those funds, making it easier, is understanding the full scope of what they're actually doing. So it's easier to say, yes, let's give them $9 million to go ahead and do this project, because we know what the project is going to be done. It's like the one we just voted on, the Jericho project, 95% success rate in bringing people from homelessness in the homes. $5 million, let's give them 10. You know what I'm saying? because we can see where that money is going and that they've been successful. But when we have projects like this, where you're bringing in incarcerated individuals, but you don't have a plan of what they're actually going to move into, it's just like the LaGuardia Airport one where they're putting the homeless. They're dropping them in a place to stay, but you have no services. Don't have the
There's
transportation.
a lot of services here.
I understand the mediation and stuff, but moving them into an economic society portion of it to where they're able to.
Right. Send.
Where they going?
Send them to us, right?
Yeah.
But that's a great question, I think best answered by the people from Osborne, right? It's a good question.
And I would just read, I don't think it was in that memo, but the services include workforce development training, resume job interviews, family and relationship coaching, dispute mediation, one-on-one support to help reentering older adults adjust and combat social isolation, independent living skills training, including technology support, health and wellness services, including mental health screenings, health literacy education, social resilience model training. I don't know what that is, cognitive behavioral therapy groups and wellness. And there are a lot of robust.
But no economic development. If you take.
You mean there are no jobs in the neighborhood?
Hold on, let James finish, then we're gonna go James and then Joyce, and then we gotta move on.
And I just want to make, I just want to say, we would never sort of fund a project where a population was getting put into a project that didn't have robust services. So I just want to be clear, we feel that Osborne, who's a sort of an A+ organization, this will provide a lot of services. We talk about if we think there's other things too, but we certainly wouldn't finance any population that needed services in a project without supports.
Yeah, but that's the thing is bringing them into an economic development side of it to where they're able to be active members within the society that they had been either excluded from or had left. And that's the thing. It's just like the Jerome Avenue project from last year. We asked about the additional services and support and stuff that would be there. And then all of those things were blocked off. These individuals, the things that you're reading off, you could take individuals from what was the movie with Eddie Murphy? You take individuals from different societies and switch places, and they end up acting and doing the exact same thing, trading places. We don't want a situation where we're just dropping them in.
One of my favorite movies.
Right, to where they're gonna be doing the same thing, because that's just like Fairfield. They stopped working on the drug addiction side of it and started working on developing the individuals to be able to get them out of their addiction and then introduce them into job training, housing, and everything else. The things that are being read off there, that's a conversation. That's not actively putting them in an economic situation to do better.
Look, I think we think Osborne is great. We'd be happy to have them come and talk to them about.
Joyce had a comment or a question, and then we gotta move on.
Yeah, and you raised a very interesting point there about whether there's economic development going on, job development in the neighborhood that provides, and some place to provide real jobs for these people. It's one thing to give them job training, it's another thing to actually get into place, to place them. What I was going to say is sort of in connection more with Wallace's point about how do families feel about living in this kind of housing? It's great to have the organization come and explain to us how they do their marketing and their program, et cetera. But I think we should also have a representative of the tenants.
The building's not built.
Well, the building's not built yet.
Well, but they have done this elsewhere.
Let's first just let's see if we can get someone from Osborne. I think that alone should be helpful. We can save our questions for, learn more about it, and we'll hopefully see other more
Right, but
successful
frankly,
ones.
my experience is there's a big difference and there's a gap between having the top of the organization reporting and what's happening on the ground.
Okay.
No, I certainly agree with that. I know we need to move on. This is a structural question, and then I'll be quiet for at least 30 seconds. But seriously, this editorial, set on these boards before and what have you, and I understand the business of the organization, but is it possible for us to convey some type of editorial comment that yes, but yes, we're going to, going forward, the board has expressed a desire that you explore more equitable approaches with respect to housing, particularly when it deals with low-income people who should not have to bear the brunt of all of these feel-good programs, as opposed to, and I don't know that it's really half the building is only incarcerated people, and they could live in middle income, and they probably have a little problem with them on Fifth Avenue, Park Avenue, but quite seriously, and I think the people who are going to be parts of these programs are not about to go right back out and rob the corner store or something, but putting people in positive environments typically get more positive results. And so perhaps that's something that people can think about, developers can think about, community groups can think about it, is a more integrative approach with respect to these programs, as opposed to only low-income housing being whether it's people with disabilities, whether it's people from incarcerated situations, whatever it may be. It shouldn't just be low-income people having to deal with this. It's a societal issue.
And they may do that. We can ask Osborne. They may work with organizations that are not us and placing people in other facilities. I don't know. So we should let them come
There's a good,
talk about it.
two quick things. First of all, good policy question there, Wallace, to be sure. And also, I think, and generally, in terms of making editorial comments, absolutely. It's important to make them as members. They are usually reflected in the minutes quite well. I have to be careful what I say because sometimes it's actually in the minutes. So I think that the points, and then there is a record, for example, of what you're calling an editorial comment, which is really just a member saying, or several members saying, hey, here's some questions about this that raise some policy issues. Remember that so many of the resources that we deploy are as of right. Developers design projects, bring them to this, and we react to them. We have some wiggle room for negotiating, right? The allocation of what might be discretionary. But we can get a project like this and say, that's interesting. Here's what Osborne's proposing. What policy questions does this raise, right? We may today, I think we will end up supporting this, but it's sparked a good discussion, which raises policy questions, which need to be reflected in the minutes, right? That editorial comment, if you will. And then the staff takes that back within and you all consider that. And again, so many of these things are baked in statute. We come at the end, it's hard because we're on a board that doesn't set policy per se. We oversee the allocation of taxpayer resources that are statutory, right? They're baked in law. And there's some discretion here, but there's an awful lot of developers like Osborne getting in line, designing a project, getting the pieces they need to finance their project, and all along pushing against the policy envelope.
But there must be a way to get the word out that this state of New York Mortgage Agency will look favorably, more favorably. Something is in support of initiatives that reflect a more equitable apportionment of low-income housing slash with respect to all these other services that we're talking about. And the developers aren't too stupid. They'll figure this out and say, well, yeah, maybe we'll get a better reception from SONYMA if we do X instead of what we've been doing for these last several years.
Yeah,
and pardon me, I'm just so the question is, how do we get that word out? They're not reading the minutes.
Right.
No,
the minutes reflect.
Yeah, I understand, but they're not reading the minutes.
No, not that they would mean it, but the minutes should, and these views that you're sharing, should drive a policy discussion, not for the developers, but within the agency and within the governor's office. But, and again, I do want to take the view as someone, like I say, who is, we all are concerned about housing options for people who are formerly incarcerated, that I'm glad Osborne is even trying this. In my view, we see this may not be a far from perfect project, but when was the last time we financed 88 units of affordable housing for formerly incarcerated individuals, where we have a city that needs thousands of units like that. And Osborne's only showing up to do this. I'm glad they're here. It may not be perfect, but without Osborne, who's doing this, right? Not very much. So again, policy questions, right?
Yeah, the only thing is just making them, we want to support them, but we also want to make them responsible individuals.
Right.
And then also in the accountability portion of it, we are at the end of it, but it's a piece that they're asking for millions of dollars to complete the puzzle to.
That's right.
So we have some leverage in that. And then two, if they sit and they look at meetings and there's 2,000 meetings and nobody has ever said no, they're just going to push whatever they want because they figure nobody's ever going to question or say no to anything. And then also, we're new to the board. So you may have had a relationship with them and they've been in business for 80 years, but we're just coming in they're building a new relationship with new directors. So we want to know what they're doing and how they're doing it.
That's fair, James. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll invite them to come in.
Let's get them to come in. I think we'll learn a lot. We'll learn about ideally how we can facilitate more of this and, done better. And the broader economic context of the location of the community. That, to me, that's the takeaway from your point, James. It's like not thinking about the building, but thinking about these people, their lives in this community and what's going on.
Don't just stick them in the house, develop them as individuals to make them.
Yeah. You may solve a short-term roof over my head, but if I don't have a job, et cetera, it doesn't really fix the situation. Great. Anything else? Because otherwise, let's move on this one, Joe, if you will.
Thank you.
Mike's got more.
Now, before the Sonny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sonny Mae Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sonny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, let's do another one, Mike. Number 5, resolution to Sonny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee, Sonny Mae Board, recommending and approving 100% mortgage insurance on an $8,200,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for the La Ola Azul project in the Bronx County.
Very good.
Good accent.
Right.
Right. So this comprises construction of 115 all-low-income units, including 69 supportive units. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's 15 million in HFA supportive housing opportunity program loan. There's 11.5 million HPD supportive housing loan program. There's 36 million in federal low-income housing tax credits and approximately 1.2 million a year in New York City 1515 rental assistance, annual rental assistance for the 69 supportive units. And there's a full Article 11 real estate tax abatement. The project is being developed by West Hab, which usually, it's a Westchester County-based not-for-profit, which usually builds supportive housing in Westchester. They're relatively new to the Bronx. The insured loan amount is $71,000 per unit, which equals 10% of the project's total development cost of $736,000 per unit.
All right. Up to the Bronx. Any questions for Mike on this proposal?
Just a quick statement. What we were just talking about in the prior one, this one actually has as far as what Dr. Ford was talking about and dividing the economic income, the income level, because 15% usually goes to low income, 25% people making 37,000, 66, 26. 20% goes to 56,000 to 106,000. 40% goes to anyone with an income for 84 to 112. So there's a nice span of different individuals within that one category.
Right.
So that's a great reflection of what
AMI.
it's asking for.
Yep. Thank you, James. Good observation. Any other questions or comments on the West Hab project?
Yeah, they mentioned, there's again, it's kind of the same thing, just another project, which is that has supportive service funding for 69 units, chronically homeless single adults with serious mental illness, substance abuse disorder, and the like. Goes back to what we said, what I was talking about before, which is that I was trying to see the breakdown in the 69 supportive units and 45 low-income units. And so it's that same kind of lack of balance, I would say. And again, I will vote for this, I'll say this right now. So, but I don't think the comment is I do think the comment is in order in reiterating what was mentioned before, which is that somehow, some way, if this organization, State of New York Mortgage Agency and the affiliated organizations can get the word out, however that is to legislators, to developers, to community leaders, that what we are looking for is more equitable treatment of low-income people. I don't think that's a lot to ask, particularly when so many, such a large part of the population in which we live and which we serve is low income. Okay,
Can you say a little more, like, so in a project like this, what would that look like for you? What's the?
Well, again, 69 supportive units, and you just heard me describe, people who are dealing with a lot of issues. Okay, and so you move into that unit, 70% of people are, I don't know what numbers, 60% of people are having some issues, and there you are, a single parent with two, 10, kids 10 and below.
Lesser percentage of supportive in the building.
Or, or a larger percentage of low income.
So I would just say two constraints that we operate under. One is we have to finance 1,400 units a year of supportive housing for this sort of larger governor commitment to supportive housing. And most, so we do that largely in obviously buildings like this that are 60% supportive, which has sort of been the New York City model historically because of Olmsted, right? It doesn't go above 60. So, and we obviously only finance so many buildings a year. We have to meet that 1,400. So that's why a lot of the buildings you see, regardless of population, have that percentage. So if we went back, one of our challenges is if we went back to to these buildings having say 30% supportive, we couldn't get to the 1,400 unit commitment the governor made with our resources is one thing. And the second thing I would say is what we sort of know from organizations like this is the 60% of the units gives them enough funding that they can then support a full-time front desk, 3 social workers that sit on site. Like they need that critical mass, both of people and the funding that goes with them to fund real on-site services that they, I think, would say to us, and we can ask Osborne when they come, that when they are operating a building that has less of it, they can't provide the level of services on site that they want to. So I would just say those are sort of some of the constraints, I think, and partially why you see the buildings at 60% supportive and sort of the overall that we operate in. That makes it harder for us to do little bits of supportive in lots of buildings because we wouldn't get to the number.
Well,
it doesn't, I don't, you could say change the commitment. I mean, that
no, it just doesn't sound fair. It just doesn't sound fair, but very highly legalistic term. But it doesn't, and I don't know. So how do we change it? Let's put it that way. How do we change it? It just doesn't sound fair that low income people should bear the burden, and then the mayor and the governor and all the people, they cut ribbons and everybody says they're doing a great job. And okay, you can say yeah, they're doing a great job, but if you're on the low end of the spectrum, you're not seeing that. Even if you get a nicer place to live. You have a nicer place to live, but I don't know if I'm gonna let my kid go to the laundry room by herself. Why?
I think it would be interesting to see any statistics that might exist on what that tension looks like in reality. Are there problems in terms of the way these buildings function?
Yeah, we can, I mean, certainly we should have the executive director from Osborne, so we can think about it if someone else.
Again, I don't know what problem looks like. Let's hope we're not talking about little kids being assaulted in the hallway or anything like that, but comfort levels for the father, the mother, in these situations, or just as, a single individual of that matter. It just seems to me that low income people shouldn't have to bear the complete burden of the social costs, which ostensibly are incurred by the entire society. And the low income people wind up having to, carry the entire burden. I don't know. If we have an opportunity to speak with people from the Senate or some of the communities that deal with housing, or how do we do this? I don't know, because I don't know how the structure works these days. But I just feel that somehow we should do more. Okay, we'll approve this, and this is great, but somehow we should do more. In terms of trying to see something that looks like equity. We have the money, Lord knows. Okay, we have the presence in the state that goes back decades, and we have the total engagement with respect to the people who actually build housing. So you put that together, it must be something we can do with that.
Yeah, I was going to say that, I mean, what you're raising is a classic problem here, which is the pressure from people who are advocating for the formerly incarcerated and for the mentally ill who need housing also, versus the people who are advocating for low-income housing and just want low-income housing and not middle-income housing because they feel that low-income people are the ones who have the worst problem or a more serious problem in finding housing. I mean, it's a debate that's been going on for, as long as I've been working in this area. And it's not easily resolved. It's never really been resolved. I mean, what you end up with is something here, which is like, okay, we have to provide a certain number of units for people with substance abuse problems, for the governor's program. And so we have to put them into this kind of building because that's the only way we can reach the number of people who need the service versus perhaps advocates for just low-income housing who just want housing for their, for the low-income homeless or whatever, people living in bad housing situations. It's just a classic problem of how you do that when you have limited funds.
I think we're gonna see more requests for supportive housing in certain communities in New York City now that the local preference has kind of been outlawed. I talked to a bunch of electeds and a lot of them are thinking, well, we want to do more supportive housing in our community so we can ensure that people from our neighborhoods are being housed in our communities. That's
the flip side.
That's the flip side of the lottery issue. A lot of the electeds were like, well, our solution is to get more people from community, from organizations, supportive housing organizations in our community, in our buildings. They want more, not less support.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it is. I don't, one thing I would say, with all due respect, President, that you just dated yourself talking about flip side. A 27-year-old son would have no idea what you're talking about. Pancake?
Hey, take a point.
Right. A pancake, well, this is a flip side. But I know what you're talking about, that's for sure. Yeah, again, and I know we need to move on, so it's just, but is there some time and place where we can actually address, as has been mentioned, the policy issues? I know I was not asked to join the board, and I did not agree to join the board, just to go through, the board approval process, which I'm glad to do, or, review, the board review.
Excuse me.
But also, every board I've ever been engaged with, involved with, also at least can speak to policy. We don't make policy. We can at least speak to it. And perhaps there's in a 45 minutes, an hour and 15-minute board meeting is not the place to have a major discussion on it. I understand, and I appreciate your patience with so far. I won't try it any further. But hopefully someplace along the line, we can actually have that kind of conversation, and with the people that need to hear it, which are our legislative leaders that we deal with. They need to hear something other than business as usual. Otherwise, we get business as usual.
Well, it was a governor commitment, right? The supportive housing commitment is not is as much a governor commitment as anything else, so.
Well, yeah, but it's that
We can invite- we
particular
can invite
one.
her to
We're talking about, I think you're talking about, services in general, problem populations, not just, 1,400 units for people with substance abuse problems, but also, programs for the mental, but with programs for people with serious mental illness, et cetera, for released prisoners,
Actually, with all due respect, I'm not in the sense that, those programs are absolutely needed. I'm just saying, should low-income people have to bear the total burden of, with respect to whatever services are allocated, that if they're, in other words, if you want a nice place to live, you're just gonna have to live in a place where half the people just got out of prison. That's how they're gonna hear it.
It's the compact, so all communities could do their fair share. And that's also part of the problem, the zoning and communities that are not allowing affordable housing and restricting it to just communities of color or low income communities. It's a big problem. The governor tried to address it last year with the compact. And we're gonna keep pushing so that we can make sure all the communities do their fair share. And low income communities of color should not have to bear just all the burden.
We go. Matter of fact, I don't think about this because I'm not sure what the answer is. It's Wallace's idea that we have some kind of forum or some kind of discussion on these broader policy issues with the right people at the table, so that as members, we have a chance to have, ask those questions, get some expert advice, talk about what's real, what's possible, how it works and all that. Because it's true, we have, every month we have an agenda of items that we generally speaking, kind of move forward. But in that process, these questions arise as they should. And so what's again, you may not have to answer this now unless you can, because I don't want to put you on the spot, but like, could we do something this summer? Could we have a meeting where we allocated extra time for, and we brought some people in? I mean, I think important to learn from the advocates who do the work on the ground every day, like an Osborne and like somebody else and like somebody else.
Right.
We can ask them and you know, the extent to which you and your colleagues advise the second floor, again, this is, you know, don't advise the legislature, right? But advise the second floor on policy matters. You know, you do that in the late summer, fall for state of the state, the preparation of the fall for that, right? It's the chance. So there's a rhythm to sort of policy development in state government. And the summer strikes me as a good time for some of those broader discussions. But I throw it back to you just to say, clearly, you know, we have members and I join them and Joyce does, and certainly a couple of people like James, you know, McIntyre, not here today, but people would probably, you know, welcome that and it'd be useful and helpful. And so should we think about a way to do that, which is, again, to have some policy discussions and then see where that takes us?
Ben?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to have some kind of policy conference
Well, now you're,
where we have a roundtable?
there are
discussion?
so many affordable housing conferences that, you know, our commissioner friend must attend all the time. To do our own might be redundant, but I do think this is a smart present company. Your narrator, your chairman excluded, this is an intelligent group of people with a lot of good questions. And looking for a vehicle or a forum to have a more, you know, robust discussion that could lead to some policy suggestions, that could lead to something or lead to nowhere, but at least, you know, it could be a function of the board.
And I want to know, in taking that ride, when we come in, we're supporting the people who are doing the best that they can to make a difference, but then also I want to know that that time is being spent making a difference, but then also have a period of look back where we go through 100 different cases and resolutions throughout the year. And take a look back at some of these and see how effective we've been in that vote in providing these individuals with the funds that they need. Did they use it the way that they were supposed to? What impact did it actually make within the communities that we were giving money to? Which will give us the incentive when they come back again to give them more money because they've done the right things with them. But we don't know if we're just throwing money and we see no results.
You should come to some ribbon cuttings. Again, yeah, that's a fair question.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's important.
See the break.
Staff, you all do this every day, so you're closer to the projects. For us, we, you know, willingly approve and then hope, right?
No, it's a totally great comment, yeah.
Waiting patiently.
All right, Mike.
So I was gonna say, my brother was Commissioner of Mental Health in Westchester County. And West Hab is the largest provider of supportive housing in Westchester.
Right.
So his agency was the contract agency with West Hab. And he said in projects like this, that the chronically homeless single adults with serious mental illness may have had issues, but they weren't stupid. And they knew if they acted out, they'd be evicted and they'd wind up freezing in the dark. So they tended to stay in their apartments and not bother anyone. And to the extent that there were issues, that there were problems, it was the teenage sons of the regular low-income tenants picking on the formerly homeless tenants with serious mental illness.
I've seen that.
That it went the other way.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Mike, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for the discussion. Ruth Ann, you'll think about
Yeah.
a forum for us to have a more of a, you know, raise these issues and get some information and have a discussion of these policy matters. I think that's good. Joe, would you do the honors, please? Hola, Sul.
Now before Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Great. We'll go to 6, resolution Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board recommending approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $26,140,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for the innovative urban village project in Brooklyn, Kings County. As we said earlier this morning, really on Flatlands Avenue. That's being renamed to something much more poetic for the sake of this project, which is always interesting to see. And this, of course, by Christian Cultural Center, Reverend Bernard, a leader, a great organization doing a lot of affordable housing in Brooklyn. So Mike, why don't you tell us about it?
So this comprises the construction of 386 all low-income units, including 94 supportive housing units. And in this case, the supportive housing units are for families that are homeless because of domestic violence. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's a $50 million HFA shop loan. There's a $50 million HBD ELA subsidy loan. There's $115 million in federal low-income housing tax credits and $28 million in brownfield tax credits. And there will be approximately $1.5 million a year in Ishai rent subsidies from OTDA for the 94 supportive housing units. The project is being developed jointly by Urban Living, Gotham, and Monadnock. And the project, the services will be provided by Urban Living Alternatives, an affiliate of the Christian Cultural Center. The insured loan amount is $64,000 per unit, which equals 9% of the project's total development cost of $708,500 per unit.
Great. Big project, important project.
Yeah.
To East New York. Yeah, the Flatlands Avenue. Questions for Mike about this?
And do we have any idea with respect to the membership of the joint venture partners, for example? And obviously I'm speaking with respect to Black and Latino entities, people. Do you have any idea? I see Goldman Sachs being an investor member, and I know that Goldman Sachs has been involved in a number of, I guess, equity, equity intended, I don't mean profit equity. I mean, in terms of societal, social equity projects, but I just don't know. Do we have any idea with respect to who these people are?
Well, we know we've done Monadnock is, we know, we should get Dan to answer this question. Gotham, these are firms that we've worked with in the past. I'm not remembering who ULI is, Urban. And Wallace was asking who the development team is here.
For
and
Urban Innovative Village?
Yeah.
It is a partnership between Christian Cultural Center, Reverend Bernard, and Gotham Organization are the two lead partners.
The CCC stay, they're selling their land, right? They own the land.
They're selling it as part of the transaction, but they are a partner in the project.
Right.
Right, and they will manage the project.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
This is Reverend Bernard from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, out by Sarah.
Okay.
You know, that's mega, I'll call it a mega church. Right?
You know,
Cultural
I'm
center.
familiar with
36,000 parishioners.
What's a mega church?
Yes, it's a good sized church.
Good size.
36,000
What a
votes.
park.
Because
There you go.
They don't do it by.
So they
phone?
they control, all right, so they're
Yeah,
doing a
that-
partnership with Gotham and Monadnock.
That's my answer. Okay, thank you.
That answer your question?
Yes.
Big project and this is just the beginning of it, right?
Yes.
I think we're gonna see more
I
from
think
this
there's 10
site.
buildings. To
Wow.
Daycare center, walk-in medical center, parking garage, grocery store, pharmacy, and a whole bunch of other items included.
And they're cleaning up, there's a brownfield site, right? They're also cleaning up the land.
Yes.
This is a, funky old industrial area. Very good. So any other questions for Mike? If not Mike, or let's go to Joe and do it.
Now before SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee and the SONYMA Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the SONYMA Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried and the resolution's adopted.
Okay, good. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody. 7 is a resolution of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee, and of the SONYMA Board recommending approving 75% mortgage insurance on an $8,800,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the Sunlight Lane Apartments project, which is up in Geneva, in Ontario County. Mike, let's go upstate for a minute.
Sure. So this project has 75% insurance rather than 100% insurance because it's being sold to the Methodist Pension Fund rather than the New York State Common Retirement Fund. It provides for the construction of 78 all-electric, zero-emission units, and it will provide both low and mod-income housing. The units will be affordable between 60 and 80% of the Ontario County AMI. There's a $15.2 million HFA subsidy loan and a $4 million CPC subordinate loan. And there are two grants from NYSERDA, Building of Excellence and a new construction grant.
Great.
It's being developed and managed by Home Leasing, which, as you all know, has constructed in more than 3,000 units of housing since 1968. The loan amount is $113,000 per unit, which equals 30% of the project's total development cost of $371,000.
Great. All right, thanks, Mike. Any questions about this project in Geneva? Financed by CPC, insured by us? Very good, Joe.
Now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Great, thank you very much. Number 8, resolution to Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee of the Sunny Mae Board recommending approving a $3,775,000 increase and a $5 million, or maybe to us, this is written wrong, to a $5,175,000 CPC loan that we approved back in September 2023 for 100% mortgage insurance on a $8,995,000 CPC permanent forced mortgage loan for the Parkview project in the Bronx. Mike, can you straighten out what I just tried to explain?
Yes.
I couldn't follow what I was reading.
Yes.
That made no sense
So
to me.
the board approved a $5.2 million loan back in September. Should have been, but there were unanticipated construction costs. So the CPC has come back and asked for about a $3.8 million increase in insurance for their increased construction loan.
Right.
There's a $24 million HPD second mortgage.
That doesn't change.
That won't change. HPD is restructuring the rents, increasing them by 28% to provide additional rental income to cover the additional debt service. And HPD will provide Section 8 vouchers to tenants to cover the increased rents.
Okay. Well, this happens.
Yeah, the
Supply chain or something like that. Couldn't find the sheetrock.
The expanded work includes maintenance on the roof, repair of slope.
right.
boards.
They probably should have known this.
Probably should have
Should have
known
known
that to
this.
begin with,
Yes.
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 It's obvious stuff.
Yes.
Somebody goofed.
Yes.
Who's the construction
To use a
manager?
very technical term. Right.
That's right.
Do you know who's?
I don't recall.
There's a
You
street
don't have
version of
this
that too.
It's three developers I'm not familiar with. It's Volandis and Marinakis and.
They don't come in at 10:30, but so they
Hey,
could.
Mike, can I ask you something that's just on the summary of the project's financing? Basically, capital stack here. There's I don't know, the pages, I'm sure the page is numbered, I can't figure it out. But you've got the CPC mortgage, you've got their mortgage, which you talked about, which I flagged the fact from Dan that it was almost 9%. But anyway, HPD has a second mortgage loan for $24 million that then it says no payments and a $99 million balloon. How do you have a $99 million balloon?
It's just accrued interest for the life of the loan.
Wow.
So it's, 5% a year for 30 years.
That's what that'd be? Okay.
Yeah,
And a balloon payment at the end.
right. But the loan we insure.
We're not insuring
will be
that.
paid off. Right.
That's not to us.
Yeah.
But understood. So they needed to increase CPC needed to increase their loan and come back to us for an increase in
Yeah.
insurance on that. Okay.
Right, and
Any other-
HPD has stepped up and will provide Section 8 vouchers.
Good.
For how long?
How long, the vouchers?
How long?
Once they have them, they keep them.
They keep them.
The
But
project-
they,
project-
if their income goes above, you know, if the
Yeah.
tenant's income goes above the Section 8 maximum income. But otherwise, they have to submit their documents every year to recertify, it'd be a typical Section 8.
It's their project based.
No, I
Yeah, but
think,
the tenant, I was saying the tenant would keep
Yeah.
the subsidy as long as they
As
qualify.
long as they, yeah. But if the tenant moves, Section 8 subsidies pays.
It depends on the type of contract. In some Section 8 project-based subsidies, when you move, you take it with you and it stays with the building. So it depends on how the contract is, what type of contract it is. But so it could be either. It definitely stays with the unit.
It's the problem with the underwriters.
Let's, okay.
I was just looking, pardon me, I was looking at the project ownership, it just caught my eye. It said the ownership interests comprise 9 entities, including 8 family trusts controlled by Peter, John, and Artemios. No entity has an ownership interest. It just seems, I don't profess to be a specialist with all of these, but it seems like a lot of entities for just ostensibly 3 individuals here involved, as opposed to just 3 individuals. No entity has an ownership of interest above 15%. It just jumps off the page. It is, in the various projects we've seen, I haven't quite seen this structure before, and I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I just don't know what it is. Do you have any idea?
I think it's aggressive estate planning. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay.
It's structured in a way that they will receive income from the building itself, but it doesn't put any of their personal assets at risk. Because what ends up happening with the trust itself is you can sue the trust, but the trust could be morphed into something else. You can pull it off into another corporate trust that's sat on a shelf for 3 years. So it's a way of them dividing up the equity, but also to protect each individual partner.
I thought it was something like that. But it just, have we seen this before? This kind of thing?
No,
So I'm not the only.
not as aggressive as this.
Pardon?
Not as aggressive as this.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't raise any.
Well, CPC doesn't seem to have a problem with it, right? I mean, they're doing mortgage, HPD. I mean, we're just doing mortgage insurance here, right? Right.
Okay.
So in other words, who looks at that, at the underlying credit, who are the ownership structure?
So we can assume that somebody knows as much as Brother Freeman here with respect to why something like this would jump off the page. It jumps off the page, but okay. If it's not a problem, it's not a problem. I'm not looking for a problem.
I don't think it's a problem.
The question is how much due diligence CPC has done on this.
Ask Sadie. Oh, wait.
That Sadie's gone. That's what I was just thinking. Too bad she's not here.
Well, I guess, yeah, to some degree.
But they do, I mean, just knowing CPC, they're very thorough in their due diligence. They're,
CVC won't work with a out-of-state trust, right? Because that would be a question.
I can't imagine that the New York City Employees Retirement System would buy something owned by an out-of-state trust.
Right. Because that would be the downside. Delaware, Texas.
Yeah.
You don't have to say who your owners or your partners are. And then you drop a trust and do whatever you want and then cash out and leave. And everybody else gets holding the bag. But if they're in New York, they're held by New York standards. So they can't just drop it and run.
I don't think NICERS would buy a loan owned by out-of-state trusts.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Well, thanks for pointing out, Wallace, the red flag, that concern.
Just looking at the flip side.
Yeah. Over, okay? Play the other side. Play the flip side.
That's like a budget hearing. So sometimes work in.
Exactly. Well, Joe, with those concerns noted, let's move ahead.
Now for the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
All right, the
Good,
next two
thank you.
items on the agenda are Sunny Mae
Thanks, Mike.
Community Restoration Fund action items. 9 is an approval of resolution, thank you, Mike, authorizing grants to conduct outreach and onboard manufactured home communities to participate in Sunny Mae's upcoming personal property loan program with the goal of increasing home ownership in manufactured home communities. So Rachel is back. Hello again.
This is requesting authorization to make 5 awards to 5 nonprofit organizations totaling $200,000. They'll be conducting outreach to manufactured home community owners as well as residents who live in these communities or want to move in. In this last year, there was an amendment to Sunny Mae's statute to allow us to do personal property lending to manufactured home residents, so they don't have to be real property mortgages. And so we're working on being able to launch this loan product, and we want to make sure we have some boots on the ground outreach to generate the interest in the program. The funding for the $200,000 to pay for this outreach will come from an appropriation we received for first-time home ownership that was 25 million. So this 200,000 is going to be a very small piece of that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, hello?
It's Alex. I just want.
Alex, you're kind of fading in and out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's because I think if you mute yourself. Let's see. Maybe that's better. Yeah.
I muted myself, but is that helpful?
Okay. So I still see the blue light. When that goes off, here we go. That's off. So what I was going to say was that this item, we incorrectly noted it on the board agenda. It's not a CRF item. It's a Sunny Mae item, as Rachel noted. And the only thing that we need to wait on once all of these preliminary steps are done is, even though the statute was amended, before we actually are able to make the loans with bond proceeds, we're going to have to address some changes to the bond resolution. But this is preliminary work on Sunny Mae, not the Community Restoration Fund. So the resolution was revised to correct that.
Yeah.
You were on mute, I think.
Well, no, thank you, Alex. And Rachel, anything else that you want to add?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. None of these grants are going, I see Southern Tier, Central New York. I see North Country, I see Western New York. I say, what don't I see? I don't see New York City.
Or Long
There's
Island.
only one manufactured home community in New York City, and it's on Staten Island. And there are 40 in Suffolk County, none in Nassau County. So we have decided that we think staff internally can do the outreach to those 41 communities. The number of communities that the other groups are going to be doing outreach to is in the 300 or 400. So it's going to be
300 or 400
yeah.
local communities?
There's 1,800 statewide. Yeah. And so we've divided it up by the 4 regions. Since downstate was so few, we figured it's outreach we could probably do ourselves.
And you guys have shot in the arm for rural communities, but there's a mobile home community in Staten Island.
There is one, yeah.
Okay, so manufactured home ownership refers to mobile homes?
Yep.
On leased land in the parks, community parks. Yeah.
Trailer parks.
On fee simple land, Sunny Mae does give real property mortgages to first-time homeowners who want to buy a manufactured home and site it on land they own. This is a new personal property loan product that would really be geared towards those who are leasing the land.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
It's a very interesting development in New York State, right? Like, how do you borrow money to buy a mobile home? It's not a car. It stays in one place. You don't own the land, right? The financing is, and you guys have done some terrific work on on this, so.
Thank you.
And then if you want to make improvements or other things, it's an important form of homeownership, right?
Yeah.
Great, so good questions, thank you. Well, thanks, everybody. Rachel, good job. Joe, let's do it.
Now before the SONYMA board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item, assuming the first and second previously entered for the mortgage insurance committee and the SONYMA board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Great, thank you. 10 is a resolution authorizing an increase of $370,790.45. Remember the 45 cents part. To a prior award to Sustainable Neighborhoods LLC to administer the homeownership hardship program, a new hardship program available to New York State Homeowner Assist for the New York State Homeowner Assistance Fund, NYSHAF applicants. Rachel, back to you.
Thank you. This one is indeed a SONYMA CRF item. So it's authorization to award the approximate $370,000 to Sustainable Neighborhoods, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Center for New York City Neighborhoods. We would be amending an existing contract to increase it by this dollar amount. Sustainable Neighborhoods is the subrecipient running the New York State Homeownership Assistance Fund, which was a COVID relief U.S. Treasury Department funded program for just over $500 million, of which so far they have assisted 16,000 homeowners at risk of foreclosure. This specific small dollar amount is to help a small subset of homeowners who are experiencing hardship, who are participating in the program, but due to certain federal U.S. Treasury Department policies would no longer be eligible for that program. We want to make sure that they are able to retain the assistance we've given them and not experience foreclosure. So we are proposing to increase this this hardship program to assist those homeowners.
All right. Thank you, Rachel.
Sure.
Good to see the success. Well, it was $500 million to start with. It's a big allocation. Questions for Rachel on this? Great, Joe.
Now before the SONYMA board are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the mortgage insurance committee and the SONYMA board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you, Rachel. The next three items are information items, and they're listed as items 11 through 13 on the agenda and in the materials. This includes the current agency procurements and the lobbying law restricted period, the mortgage insurance fund activity report for December 2023, the annual report for 2023 of the SONYMA Community Restoration Fund. There being no further business with the SONYMA board, Joe will please ask for motions and second to adjourn today's SONYMA meeting.
Thank you. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for SONYMA, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No,
Well, he wants to hang out.
I gotta say something.
Well, now I can say by basically 1 minute. No, not yet. I'm gonna almost say good afternoon. It's still good morning by the computer.
I'm just kidding.
Mr. President,
Oh.
before we close, I my instructions I heard were to try to get here by 10:30 as close to the usual, my favorite 9 a.m. Showing up, but I don't, typically the staff is here. Is they boycotting or is it a holiday we don't know about or? They wanted to get out of here before I got here.
remote work.
They may have zoomed in, maybe. I think some folks could have zoomed in from their desk, but you can't see them up there, like when they call into it or zoom into it from their desk.
But, okay, but usually we have more than 4 people.
Usually packed.
So a lot of the F&D staff are really busy with that. We also, Mark told me he had some deal calls that he had to go do.
I'm sad.
Budget time.
You tend to have.
Budget prep.
Everybody's busy, right? You know,
There are often staff who are responsible for the actual stuff in the agenda, materials in the agenda, so they can respond to questions.
Yeah.
And then I think when it's super busy, people who, memory serves, who don't have items in the agenda sometimes leave because they've got to do work.
And that's,
They know they're not going to get called on.
and that's
Like you
every-
notice the finance team is not here today, like.
Yeah,
Carol
that's
and
everybody.
because the IT team is not here. Certain teams aren't here because they're not on the agenda.
I have a request though.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
The organization that is doing the study for MWBE, I would like to have them come in so that we can actually get an outline of what it is that they're actually doing in their study and where they're at right now and the allocation of funds and resources that they're putting towards it.
Is this the new disparities, the new disparity study?
Yes.
From ESD or the
That's-
technical
that's the-
assistance that we're doing here in-house?
The funding that we provided for the organization that's doing the study,
That's our in-house technical assistance.
yeah, and it's been about 6 months that ESD, the new administrator, the president has been there. So if we can put out a request to him to say what he's been able to find in the last 6 months regarding our prior meeting, just to follow up to that.
I'll make both requests.
Can no longer say he's new. Hi, I'm new around here. I'll look into that.
Exactly.
Can I just say that the previous motion is carried and the SONYMA meeting is adjourned?
Well,
Thank
okay.
you very much.
I was just waiting for whether we're adjourned or not. Is it?